of Cthulhu, and we're going to go. I'm not like John, and I'm not going to do a fancy intro, so we're just going to get into it. So I have, I guess, a one shot that's probably going to take more like 1 to 3 sessions, depending on how carefully you do things. And I wanted to start off by talking about the system a little bit, because I know that a couple of you are not familiar, and I'm sure others would appreciate like a little bit of a refresher. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yes. So I'm going to do the whole share screen thing, and I'm gonna just sort of share.
You're going into full Zoom meeting mode. That's not at all.
Is that all right?
It's not at all what I expected, so I'm not ready to.
Okay.
Hold on. I can fix it.
Okay.
Okay. And we are going to Saka. And we're still here. Hold on a second.
Sure. Are we good?
Oh, no. Cancel, delete. Add.
Sorry, I guess I'm going into teaching mode.
It's fine. Sorry. It's fine. Go ahead and keep doing it. I'll try and
okay.
Get it.
Yeah. So Cthulhu is a D100 system. We're going to be making skill rolls, and your sheets have different skill options available, which I'll show you in a little bit. When you make skill rolls, there's the opportunity for you to increase over time, and I'll tell you about that as well. There are different kinds of skill rolls. There's a regular roll, a hard roll, and an extreme roll. So, like, for example, I have open Liz's sheet for Daphne here, and so you can see that under some of these attributes, you see the regular is the big one. The one on the top is the hard, and the extreme. So it's a half and a fifth value, and it's the same thing with these other skill rolls when you do them. There's so like this roll here that I did in accounting for her, she has a 5 in account, 5% chance of doing it. She rolled a 43, so she failed. So it's different kinds of rolls. That are options. There's sometimes we can do opposed skill rolls. Like I might say, well, okay, you're going to use your attribute of whatever it is, let's say, versus the enemy's attribute of another thing, and you resolve that by who has the higher level roll. Sometimes I'll ask you to do a bonus die, which would give you another tens percentile die along with your original roll, and you take the best, or the opposite, a penalty die, where you have another tens roll and you take the worst. It's sort of like the version of advantage and disadvantage. Does that make sense? Their question. Why is it not going to the Zoom thingy? Oh, I'm stopping share. Does that make sense in terms of skill rolls?
Yeah, it's clear as mud.
Clear as mud?
I'm just kidding.
I'm savvy.
Chad, Liz, does that make sense?
I will most likely learn best through situational examples.
Fine. Okay. Tell you what, we could just do that, and that'll be fine if you want to. If it's easier than me talking at you about the system rules, no big deal. Let's do that then. So that's good stuff. Why don't we then take a minute for us to talk about our characters? Okay. And maybe we can start with Shisho and John, whose characters have been around through a couple of other adventures. So whoever wants to go first.
And not Chad, whose character is also named John.
I will, of course, yield to Jijo if you want to go first. Or if you want me to, I'll do it.
So just introducing the character?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your character. Maybe what they've been through in terms of the mythos.
The weird stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, my character's name is... hold on. Salome Petrona Vidalia Mondragon Lopez de Avila, but you can call her Sally. She's a shorty. She's 5'4", and she has curly black hair down to the center of her back. She's brown skinned, and she usually has on this kind of flappery looking kind of get up. She is originally from LA. She was learning how to be a good old fashioned market fortune teller, but she had some kind of turbulent times in her personal life, and after coming into contact with a very interesting professor from the East Coast, she sold all of her belongings, abandoned her apartment, and ran off to is Miskatonic the town, or is Arkham the town?
Arkham is the town. Miskatonic is the university.
The university. Okay, so she ended up in Arkham to visit this professor. In his mansion, she was just there on upon his invitation, and she really didn't really know she was going to do next with her life. And things fate kind of decided for her. The professor had this strange technology that he developed, and it was causing all kinds of temporal fuckery. There was murder and sabotage, betrayal, arson, and now she's moving on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. So let's just say that she is sort of in the general Boston area at this point. Okay, that's where it's all going to be located. So what about Lemro?
Lemro probably smells like 12 packs of cigarettes. He's got booze on his lips. He definitely looks like he's a lot older than he actually is. And if you'd seen the things that he's seen, you probably would have aged a little bit yourself. Very haggard. If he's actually out and about, he's probably got sweat stains on his button-up. And not in places you'd expect, because he definitely rolls around quite a bit while he's trying to hide away from the world. But despite his disheveled appearance, he is a very cool, slick operator. Very much just a charismatic person, despite the kind of initial, almost like vagabond kind of features he presents.
Can you tell us a little bit about what is his background? What kind of work did he do?
Nobody knows, other than he probably is some sort of private dick. There really isn't much on him. Why he's going to be affiliated with anybody is, needless to say, kind of hard to piece out. He does appear to have, in kind of initial encounters with him, he does appear to have an eye for detail, but he's not someone who is really talkative too much about his own person. He was in the past, but that's just, he's a changed man. He's very much a kind of quiet, listening type, but when he perceives action, he will definitely kind of jump towards it.
So fair to say, though, that he has some kind of connections, experience with the criminal world.
Oh, yeah. So he still has connections in Boston for sure. Definitely, especially after the first incident with the necromancer or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And if the professor is someone who's studied what I presume he's studying, and he's the person that's kind of drawing us together, the reason why Lemro is being kind of put on offer is because of other investigators having suggested, after turning down the jobs themselves, suggesting that the only other person I know who might have specialty in this field is Lemro Fastinetti.
Mm-hmm. You have connections with all different kinds of things happening in Boston, so you'd be able to reach out to people with different kinds of abilities that might be needed for different situations, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Liz, you want to tell us about Daphne?
Sure. So she's 49 and only getting younger. She is mostly a rich bitch.
Okay. Okay.
What?
I know you're just. I mean, so older women who are rich is kind of Lemro's specialty.
Oh,
So I
Stay
mean,
away, stay away.
you probably actually know of me from circles.
probably.
When I was younger, I probably fucked a lot of your friends. And they loved it. And
Rascal.
they paid me for it. I'm effectively, in your mind's eye, a gigolo.
Fair enough. Well, she married for money a little bit, mostly adventure. But husband was not actually into that, but she was. So when he died, she trying to kind of make this up on the fly almost. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So it's so like
I know that she's from money. She also married money, and now she's just looking for a good time.
So like Daphne likes adventure.
Yeah.
She's kind of like a little bit wild,
Mhm.
and is very
She definitely
open-minded.
bobbed her hair,
Okay.
which was a big thing.
Um, and maybe you have a connection with her Lemro because you've traveled in those circles.
Mhm.
She might have even dated some police officers or something like that. I don't know. There's got to be some sort of way to connect them
Well,
together.
yeah, I
Or at
definitely
least
don't.
like flirted with them.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't want to like insinuate that we're connected in that regard because, of course, that's
Yeah.
awkward. But I'm just saying, you said I'm rich and I'm an older lady, and hey, Lemro's whole backstory is like that's the circle that I've courted. The reason why I'm still alive is because of the grace of such women. I literally would be in an asylum if it wasn't for like the connections I made as a private eye, basically finding their the infidelities of their husbands and also
Well, her
benefiting.
husband's dead, so you didn't have to look into that.
Yeah, no, yeah. He's probably faithful. Sounds like a good guy, just kind of a bore.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
from what I know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, if you really want to know, I'll take the job.
Chad, tell us about John a little bit.
John Brown is 26. He is college educated. He's a mechanic. He's pretty well traveled for somebody in his I guess like rung of society.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
He and his sister went to France. So basically, he started off as more of like an auto mechanic.
Yep, she was the pilot. Yeah.
Right. So his sister wanted to be an airplane pilot. So he went with her to France. She became a pilot. He was basically her mechanic. So he had a lot of experience working on airplanes with her. Recently, he's come back to the States.
Boston
And
rather than Chicago, right?
right, yeah. So he was born and raised in Chicago, then left there for France, and now he's come back and he's in Boston. He's sort of just kicking around town for now. Hasn't really laid down any roots or anything, but he's thinking about um, opening up shop somewhere, starting his own garage.
Yeah, let's
So
say that he's also known to Lemro, through his travels through town.
right, as like a reliable mechanic.
Right. And yeah, he's a big guy. He's strong. Yeah, exactly. And he might have some useful skills.
Yeah, he deals with a variety of customers, so he may have heard a thing or two.
Right. Right. Okay. So
I have an out of character question.
Yep.
So at the end of the last game, we got our hands on this like item. Are we just kind of like saying, okay, this item is over there because introducing it back in will be too chaotic?
Yeah, why don't we do that little kind of a reset because it'll be a little bit complicated. There will be an opportunity for you to perhaps find other items
Okay.
that you might be able to use. Yeah, so I think that would be probably the best thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Shisho, is Sally is still kind of doing the grifting thing, kind of in the criminal thing. Is that right? Is that fair?
Yeah, essentially.
Still kind of actively doing it throughout this time period.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think she probably, because at the end of her little adventure at the mansion, she got together with a very nice gentleman, and they had like a little bit of a lavender, not marriage, but like a lavender
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think he was a student or professor, so she probably would have been mooching off of him for as long as possible. And
But
then
he's out of the picture now.
but he's out of the picture, so now she's kind of back out there on the streets, cheating people out of their hard-earned money.
Quick question. I just want to make sure I understand, and if I'm overstepping, slap
Go
me
ahead.
down. So to make sure, like, the narrative thrust is there's a professor who's basically going to kind of call us together for this.
Nope.
No, I missed that. Okay, I misapprehended.
Right. So I understand. It's fine. So that was part of a previous encounter, and that's gone.
Got it.
Right. And
Yeah,
so
that's how Sally got here from L.A.
Okay.
right. So what the impetus for
past.
this encounter is going to be that Sally gets a letter. The letter is from a one Orson Vaughn. I'm gonna type that name. And so, Sally, you got this letter from Orson Vaughn, and you have definitely heard this name before. He is one of the big criminal lords of a certain part of Boston, the part of Boston that you operate in when you do your activities, right? And he writes you a letter and he says, Sally, I understand that you've been operating in my territory for a number of months without providing me the appropriate respect, in quotation marks. You know I'm a serious businessman. You also know this is a serious lapse. However, I'm going to allow you to make this up to me because I have a job that I think is well suited to someone with your special talents. It's a job that requires some subtlety, some intelligence, and the ability to work with lots of different kinds of people. I'd like you to gather together a small team, again, discreetly, and come to my saloon. It's called The Clamp. I'll type it out. And he writes the address.
Child, not the clamp.
You know of it. It's a rather seedy speakeasy in that area of Boston.
Okay.
And so this provides an opportunity for you to call together a team, maybe someone that could speak with certain kinds of certain kind of social circles. That would be Daphne, someone maybe who has some connections with both the underworld and maybe even some connections with the police. That would be Lemro, and someone with like some mechanical abilities, because you never know, for example, when you're going to need to break into a house or, create a device that's going to be necessary for you to do the job you're going to do. You're going to be
Hotwire car.
It could be absolutely something like that. So you send out word to these other individuals.
Cars also didn't need keys back then, by the way.
Poor John Brown is about to get swindled hard.
Any of the investigators that Lamro is associated with a part of Sally's team, or was there no crossover?
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Was Tim in?
I think no, Tim wasn't.
No. In our group, it was all academics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was Sally, like basically inserting herself into academia,
Okay.
and now this is Sally inserting herself into the criminal underground.
I'm just wondering how like Lemro is like mentioned as a person who would be kind of connected.
Well, what I'm thinking,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you go ahead, Shisho.
yeah, what I'm thinking is like Sally has spent, let's say, what, a year in Boston or less than that.
A
Let's
year
say
sounds right.
And so she's gotten to know like the little, like the, what do you call them, the street urchins and the ragamuffins, and like the bar, like the hoochie hoochie girls. And she's like, who do you think would be like into this kind of a gig? And that one hoochie hoochie girl is like, you know what, talk to this guy.
I
And
know,
she
just the
writes
right dirtbag. Yeah.
Lemro's name on like a little napkin from the bar,
Dirtbag.
and Sally will come knocking.
Have a mighty phone. Shit. Okay,
So,
that
and I
works.
would imagine that Lemro then would provide the connection to Daphne.
Yeah, it sounds like that might be possible.
So how do we loop in our mechanic? He
Well,
seems kind of clean cut, no?
well, maybe not.
Daphne's rich.
I mean, Daphne's got money, so
So there you go.
She just buys him.
Well, she's employing him.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure she's got at least one car.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
maybe
At least
maybe
one.
things have been a little rough for John. Maybe he hasn't been able to find as much work as he wants to, and he's looking for an opportunity. Or maybe he's looking for just enough funds to be able to buy that garage that he's been hoping to open, or who knows.
She goes to the person store and she just buys John.
That's
She's
not.
that rich.
I'm
sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's not that far back in
Okay, I'm sorry.
American history. Okay.
Oh God. Okay,
Lovecraft was a racist. We don't have to be.
He was a horrible racist.
that's right. That's true.
Very, very true. No, she could. I mean, if she has cars, she would have gone. You're muted, Chad.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna ask if we were going with the angle of Mr. John Brown being a person of color.
Your call.
Your call.
Yeah, it seems to be that is the hand I was dealt, and I mean I'd kind of like to go with it.
Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
So, and I'm not sure exactly what year this is.
20s.
27.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that could be contributing to some difficulties in
Uh-huh.
achieving his goal.
Yeah, unfortunately, people were shitty back then. Yeah,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
are.
I feel like
Just more so.
I feel like Daphne's one of those that doesn't care what color you are. It's like you're good at your job. Let's go.
Yeah, he dresses well, but his clothes are not the best. Like he's very
She'll
much
fix
the
you
kind
up.
of guy who's like he's doing a good job of like making the most of what he has.
Mm.
So it's like, yeah, it definitely works for him. And he carries himself well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make
So
sure his
whenever you would
buttons are
find
cuffed.
him, he would probably be sitting somewhere. He'd have his feet kicked up like this, and he'd be reading a copy of Paradise Lost.
So Sally to Lemro.
Nice. Very
Lemro to
nice.
Daphne. Daphne to John.
Mm.
So, Sally, you've been summoned with your group to the speakeasy, the clamp, for some work that will pay you, and in addition, will put you on the good graces of a man whose bad side you don't want to get on.
I don't know how I got fucking mixed up in this shit, but first day of the gig, and you're walking me into the clamp to go meet with Orson Vaughn.
Oh, he's not so bad. Don't worry. He's a sweetheart. You'll see.
Let me tell you a little secret, Sally. Friend of mine, Billy, over on Precinct 3, said he had to mop a guy's brains off the wall said it was Orson Von Spoons what did it. So
Sounds right.
if he's having you do this, it's probably you're not in such good favor here, drawing on some randoms, coming out here with people you don't trust, asking me to muster up who I can. Sorry, Daphne, I brought you into this, but don't worry, I'll keep you safe, Dame.
Yeah,
All right, I
John,
haven't been here in years.
John pulls a handkerchief out of his pocket and kind of like dabs his brow, and he leans over and says to Daphne, he says, "Pardon my language, but what the heck have you gotten me mixed up in?"
He's so clean cut.
Look, if you're looking to make some cash, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Look, I did a little reading this morning, and it all came up roses. All good fortune. I can feel John Brown's aura just blossoming out of him. It'll definitely be all right. He's got a great energy. We'll be good. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
at first when you said you were like reading this morning, it's like he was like, "Oh, okay, like reading. Like I do a reading," and then you're like auras and like all this, and you just watch like the expression in his face, like he's just like,
Lemmer walks
Reading
in.
has a lot of definitions.
It's
as we
fundamental.
learned on this Discord.
It's
It's fundamental.
it's like I thought I was with you, then I had questions, and now I don't even know what to ask or say.
Well, that's all going on. Lemmer walks in like he owns the place because he's been to the claim.
Hold on now. Just hold on, you. Let me do my thing too.
Fine.
So down a dark alley not far from Scully Square is a door that looks like a generic fire exit. A surprising number of people rap on the door, which then opens to admit them. It's not an alley that you would walk down without good reason, and this is wise because many of the city's hoodlums, Lemro and Sally, go to this speakeasy to relax and can often be found hanging out inside. So when you get to the door and you knock, it slides open, and there's an immense gentleman with a scarred face and a dirty suit. What do you want?
You know what I want.
Who are you?
What, are you fucking new?
Lemro, easy. Oh, honey, it's okay. Lemro, it's just in a mood. We're here to see Orson, Mr. Vaughn.
And you are?
Oh, I'm his good buddy Salome.
The eye slit closes for a minute, and when it opens again, he says, "You're expected." The door opens, and you walk in.
As I walk
Whoa,
past
that's a
the
big
bouncer,
man.
I'm gonna get like real close and like eyes like lock with him, and just like
So
not scared at all, just walking past him. Like
you'll
and
note, Lemro, that he is significantly bigger than you, and
there's
he's clearly packing.
there is no fucks. And then as I'm walking away, just under my breath but loud enough for him to hear, must be fucking new. Must be
Okay. You're. Go ahead.
John's gonna bring up the rear, and as he like kind of scoots past the bouncer, he's like tips his hat, like
Good
just
call.
is
Good
like
call.
back against the wall, basically trying to put as much space between him and this guy as possible.
He's not looking at you. He's scowling at Lemro.
Yeah, that's fine. Like John's just trying to be polite and like non-offensive.
Okay.
He's
And
like,
so
I need that money, but I have no idea what I'm doing here.
This is all the shit I've been trying to avoid.
You're taken to Vaughn's table, and this is what he looks like. It's Orson Vaughn. He looks to Sally, and then he looks the others over, and he says, "I'm so glad you took me up on the offer."
Oh, Mr. Vaughn, I meant no disrespect. I'm glad that we could figure out a way to just iron it out.
Well, if you do this task for me, it will wipe the slate clean and put some extra money in your pockets. I assume that these people are going to assist you.
That's right. They've agreed to assist.
Okay, so as I wrote in the letter, I'm looking for a small group of professionals to discreetly do some investigation of a situation that I don't want to be seen involved with directly. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. A few days ago, 3 kids, they're kids, who work under the umbrella of my organization, were found dead in a neighboring mansion. They were doing. He looks at Sally. It was a typical B&E. They're just going to go in there and grab some stuff and get out. And honestly, I'm a little annoyed that they did it, because if they told me, I would have said, not that house. The house belongs to the magician. I'm going to type the name. Who's known around town. You've heard his name if you've been in town at all. The Great Memphis. He's a famous musician.
He does like stage magic and stuff.
He does stage magic, right? He's known not only in Boston, but he's actually been known worldwide. He's toured the world. His stage tricks are pretty impressive. He lives in this big mansion, and Orson says, Memphis is a regular at the Wilbur Theater. He's the house talent at the Wilbur, and the Wilbur, they make a good profit off of him, and in turn, they provide us the opportunity to give them some protection. So we don't want to take from our end. So anyway, they acted without my knowledge. That's kids will be kids, but unfortunately, they were found dead. And he says, I have contacts with the police. And the police, they rushed this job. They wanted to clear this up quickly, and they said that the kids, the burglars, they fought over the loot and killed each other in the house.
Lumber kind of raises his hand for attention.
Mm-hmm.
Pulls out a pad, pen, paper, and a pen, and says, "You got a case number?"
Says, I don't have a case number, but I know someone that you can talk to in the police department.
What's the name?
Yeah, and so he gives the name Joe Edwards.
Do I know Joey Edwards?
You would know Joe Edwards.
While this is going on, John's gonna quietly order it.
John's gonna quietly what?
Order a drink.
Yeah, like sonar. I immediately hear that and says, "Get me 2 of what he's having."
He's not.
He's
your
having
waiter.
milk.
I didn't say to him. He's ordering a drink from somebody who came over to take the order. I'd say to
he's
that
not my
person,
waiter, but they are.
Yeah, I say, give me 2 of what he's having. What John's having.
I will recant that.
No worries.
And so he says, yeah, over at the police station, Joe Edwards. And Joe Edwards. He has the reputation of being a straight shooter. He probably doesn't like you very much because you're not a straight shooter. But Vaughn says, Edwards and I have butted heads over the years, but we've come to kind of an understanding with each other. Anyway, I know these kids. They were good kids. They made a stupid choice, but they would never kill each other. They're like family. I visited their mom after I heard. I'm taking care of her, don't you worry. But something's not right. I want you to figure out what happened to those kids so that I can get my justice.
Wait a second now. Let me make sure I'm understanding this, just so I have it right. The police said that the kids killed each other?
That's right.
That's fucked.
I think it's a rush job.
Oh, no, for sure.
They just wanted to clear it up.
B&E, they probably got, some good old-fashioned, king in his castle, if you get my meaning.
And
Well-
you're saying,
well, here's the-
that
Go ahead.
Wilbur is living in the mansion.
No. So the Wilbur is the theater that the great Memphis performs at.
The great Memphis is living in that mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But here's the thing, though. Memphis, he travels a lot, sometimes for weeks at a time, investigating new stage tricks, talking to other magicians, traveling far and wide, sometimes to Europe or other countries. He's been gone for, at this point, over a month, almost 6 weeks, which I think is why the kids who were staking out the place knew that this was the time to act. So I don't think Memphis was in the house, and I don't think he's there now.
Well,
Do we know where he
obviously
is
he
now?
didn't do it because if he wanted to, he could just make him disappear.
Ha ha ha.
It's a pretty good one.
There you go. No, I don't know where he is now, Sally. But
Wait, well,
he go ahead.
I was going to say, do we know if he didn't, leave somebody in the house who might have done it? Or maybe someone squatting, that B&E, someone that's already been B&E, you know what I mean?
So I have been putting my ear to the ground, and I have heard that his lawyer, Memphis's lawyer, has been snooping around asking some questions about what's happened there as well.
What's his name?
So I'm going to give you the name of the law firm.
Okay.
Pickering and Pickering is the law firm, and so they've been trying to ask some questions about what happened as well. Yeah, there's suits always trying to protect their
For sure.
their interests. But getting back to the question that you asked, he looks at Lemro. He doesn't know your name. There's a whole community of magicians in Boston. They might know something about Memphis's whereabouts, what he's up to, when he's due back. In fact, I have these tickets that I can give you to a show tonight at the Wilbur, where Memphis's protege, and I'm going to type the name.
So you said the great Memphis had traveled to Europe?
He has traveled to Europe.
Would John have seen or heard of him in his time in France?
I don't know. It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, probably, I don't know, maybe read something in the newspaper.
Yeah, it's possible. And so Harold Hawkins is Memphis's protege, and he's currently performing at the Wilbur in Memphis's absence.
These tickets, they got VIP shit going on for them? Mr. Bob?
VIP shit?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
If we just have regular tickets, it's going to be hard to muscle our way through to the backstage.
They're gonna
without
know
notice.
they're gonna know they're from me, and they're gonna give you access to the backstage afterwards.
But you said you didn't want to be associated with this, so I don't think we should probably be spitting your name around if we're doing some investigatory work here.
I think being discreet is a good idea.
Cool. So the tickets are just regular general admission, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's fine.
Probably swing something.
I'm sure you could figure it out. You're resourceful. This is why you're doing this.
I'm mainly just making sure these tickets don't tie back to you, sir. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm protecting the asset here, which is your discretion here.
Smart. I like this guy.
This is why I brought him in. This is why I got him.
This is your spot, right, Mr. Vaughn?
It is.
I'm surprised you don't like me more. I'm buying this place well out of a fucking shit ton of wine. So
I like you even better if you buy the top shelf.
Fuck it. Well, I don't know what my friend John here ordered, but whatever that is, next time a waiter comes around, I'll get one of those on top of it.
John's got a whiskey.
2 whiskeys get set down in front of Lemro. And if the waiter is the one who did it, I'll order whatever Mr. Vaughn suggests.
John, like,
Okay.
he's looking very, like a little too smiley as he like raises his glass to
Sure.
Vaughn.
Lemro's already downed one of them and is like then sipping the second one. It doesn't look like it phased him. He just doesn't care.
Yeah, he downs the first one and John's like, whoa, and then he like goes for the second one and John's like, whoa.
Probably one of those like, you know, kind of like brought up with like the understanding of like respecting whiskey. He's like, you know, whiskey's a sipping drink.
Yeah, he's like, sip. And Lemro's like,
Taking it like a
Sally-
tequila shot.
Sally will give Daphne like a little elbow and be like, "Hey, hey, honey, I left my coin purse at home. You wouldn't mind getting a little, just a nip of tequila for me?"
Oh, you're a tequila drinker. Yeah, we can get around.
There you go. Oh, you're so generous. I'm so glad Lemro introduced us.
Looks at Limero and John. Y'all want
I mean, does it pair well with whatever you just ordered me, Mr. Vaughn?
Oh
Well,
no.
Probably
Oh,
not.
no.
Okay, cool, whatever. Throw
This
them
is
up.
just like
Let's go for it.
devolving into debauchery.
We're not planning on
Well,
doing any searching
Vaughn,
and stuff.
Yeah.
Vaughn looks you over and says, I think you have a sense of what you need to do. Do you have any questions for me?
yeah, this is not the Friday game. We can't just drink all the time.
Yeah, right. So I have like an out of character question.
Mhm.
So John, from his knowledge in France and from Sally's knowledge of spooky stuff, would
Mhm.
there be any rumors that we would like recollect of there being like occult associations with Memphis and his protege?
No, you wouldn't have heard any such thing.
Okay.
Good question.
Can I make an Eldritch?
Can you do what?
Can I make a Eldritch lore or Cthulhu mythos roll?
Why would you want to do that for? What would prompt that?
No, there's no problem.
Then you're not going to do it.
I have 1 point in Cthulhu mythos. That's
So,
why.
one of the things that's different about this game than like D&D is that this is really an investigation game, and so I'm just going to encourage you to like think about finding out as much as you can about what's going on. And I've thrown you some leads that you might want to think about.
Mhm.
Just as a reminder, I've thrown you the lead of the lawyers that are sort of on their own poking around, and the magician's community. And then if you've played with me in a previous game, you know that going to the library is always a good idea because you might find out some good information at the library. And so this kind of footwork will help you as investigators to sort of figure out a little bit more of what's what.
Joe Edwards.
What time is it now?
Police, that's right. What time is it now? So let's say it's 4 o'clock.
Okay, so then I'd throw back the second whiskey then, seeing the job's up, and then I'd throw back the tequila when it arrives. Whatever the waiter comes back with, I say, oh, it's supposed to be a double, and then they'll go back and bring back more alcohol. I'll then take whatever's in that cup, whatever was top shelf, pour that into my flask, and shut that up.
Orson's going to look at Sally and says, "You got to be sharp." And he's pointing at Lemro. Make sure your team is sharp.
I look at him and I raise my hand up, and it's completely still, perfectly level, even though I've downed 3 very, very alcoholic drinks. And I say to him, "I'm on the level."
He shrugs.
So do we know where the Great Memphis has gone, or what exactly he is studying?
He's missing.
You know from just what you've been told from Orson Vaughn that he often will leave town, and it's people say that he's like learning new magic.
Mhm.
Lemro,
Who knows though?
after consolidating, will get up, offer both of his hands out, one to Sally, one to Daphne. Ladies,
Mm.
Mm.
Oh.
I'm obviously in no condition to drive, but it's not too far a walk from here to the precinct where Joe Edwards is located. I'm thinking maybe go talk to him for a bit. If you
Wait,
don't,
what time is it?
4 o'clock.
4.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
If you don't want to hang out at a police station, which, trust me, I get you. You can go on and move on and do other things. I'm not terribly fond of lawyers.
Or libraries.
Or libraries. But if you want to go talk to Pickering and Pickering about their what they're talking about regarding this situation, that'd be great. These tickets are for tonight.
They are.
We can all meet up
8
back
o'clock.
there.
Yeah.
Meet up
Is
there
it
at 7:40.
possible? Yeah. Yeah. Out of character question, is it possible for Daphne to potentially like upgrade those tickets once we get to the theater?
You could try.
Okay.
So there are some skills that you could use,
I
like
could
fast talk
persuade.
or charm. And if I remember correctly, her appearance is pretty high, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that means that those things might be leveraged to her advantage.
Okay. Cool.
She a BBL baddie.
But
She's a MILF.
I'm assuming we got there through locomotion. Probably car. Who was driving? John?
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah. And
Sally's
Yeah,
probably paying him.
Yeah, as
I don't know.
before leaving, John
Or
would
not
he'd
Sally,
stand up
Daphne.
and he'd kind of tip his hat to Orson. He'd say, "It was a pleasure meeting you." And then
And smiles and
head out
says,
the
"It's
door.
nice to meet you, young man."
Bye, Mr. Vaughn. Don't worry about a thing. We'll take care of everything. And then that's it.
I expect you will.
once we get back into the alley, I'm gonna look to Sally and I'm gonna say, "So what do you think it was? You think there's a squatter in Mr. Memphis's house, or do you think Mr. Memphis didn't ever go anywhere and he's staying home?"
Look, in times like these, when something just can't be explained, the most logical thing is always a ghost. I'm sure that there's a haunting here, and we should be prepared for some supernatural activity.
Memphis could
as
be.
always.
Memphis
John
could,
is like, whoa.
Wait, what?
Ghosts?
Oh, just talking over him. Lemro
Ghost?
says,
It's an empty mansion.
Sally, like Lemro's face goes stock, like serious. Like I'm actually talking about real matters. And I said, it could be that Memphis is involved in the occult and is actually summoning ghosts to his house and using them to kill children who invade his property. It could be the case that there's some sort of entity that's been bound to the house and is
What
causing the
the
children to
hell?
kill one another. I mean, there's a lot.
Yes, it could be any of those things.
There's a-
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not putting it past a person who calls himself the magician, or he could just be a schmuck who pulls rabbits out of hats.
You can't trust magicians. Right, Daphne? Right, John?
I mean, look at them.
They're always doing them seances and things these days.
They're just tricks.
There's
Sal.
nothing wrong with a little seance.
Uh-oh, crossover. Sorry, you're coming into my neck of the woods, so actually... Sorry.
But they usually fake their seances.
Yeah, no.
Oh, what's that, John?
Magic isn't real, right? They're just tricks, right?
I just reach over and, like, blowing my smoke off to the side as I'm holding the cigarette in the other hand, like, place my hand on John's shoulder and look him in the eyes with the look of a man who's seen some shit and say, "Sure, buddy."
Love a good adventure.
Oh, honey.
Oh.
No.
I'm gonna head and talk to
Okay.
Joe Edwards. You folks know the way to Pickering and Pickering?
Yeah, John,
Yeah.
can you give us a ride?
Pickering is the theater.
Lawyer.
The lawyers.
No,
Lawyer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he's going to see the law. We're going to see the lawyers.
Right. But yeah, John kind of like shakes his head and he's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll drive." And then he looks over at Daphne. He says, "I might need a little bit more money, but we can talk about that later."
I gotcha.
And like the whole drive, he's just kind of staring like dead straight ahead. Like he's just
relapsing to
like his brain is just like, yeah, he's
Lemro's
like
eyes.
replaying that scene and with like Lemro in the alley, and it was like, yeah, it was like the expression on that
no.
man's face did not match the words that came out of his mouth.
Oh no.
Like, what does it all mean?
the trauma.
So they pull up the Pickering and Pickering.
And I'm gonna head over to the precinct, which isn't too far off.
Okay. Let's take care of the precinct first.
Walk in like I own the place.
So arriving at the station house.
Yep.
You come face to face with a desk sergeant. He's described as a burned out pension case with jowls and hooded eyes.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want?
Joe Edwards, he in?
Who's asking?
Private Eye. Lemro Fastinetti.
What business do you have?
Has to deal with.
He looks you up and down.
Has to deal with a request from Pickering, the law offices of the Great Memphis. Apparently, there was an incursion in his house, and I'm doing some investigatory work to learn a bit more about what the happenings are, what the case happens to entail, so we can get a rough estimate for the insurance company as to what damages were ascertained during the event.
Okay. Make a persuade roll.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to use my bonus die.
Alrighty.
I was going for fast talk, but
that doesn't sound like fast talk, though, does it?
I was trying to talk like in a way that was like kind of moving past him, like he's obsolete to me, like I'm beyond him and I'm talking over him. But if you want me to go with persuasion, it's fine. You are the master. I am but the Padawan learner. I just know where fast talk is. I don't know persuasion.
It's over on the.
I see persuade.
Right.
I see persuade. So you're gonna give me fast talk last call, please?
I'm gonna give you persuade. Go ahead.
It's gonna be really bad.
Okay.
I didn't have the bonus.
Yeah. So roll a 10.
So 0.
That's a success.
Yay!
So you got a 4. That's a success.
So real quick, just to describe how that works. 54 is what I got on a percentile die. 2 d10s, right? If you roll a bonus, you roll another d10 and you replace the 10 slot with the bonus die if it's lower. And then on the right side, it'll always say the same. But if you roll a penalty, you do the exact opposite. You're going to roll the 10 side die twice and take the higher of the two. So because I rolled a 0 on the d10, because there's no 10 slot for 1 through 100, I got a 4.
So the target number was below a 10.
Correct.
So that's really hard. So he had to get less than 10%, right? And so he got a 4.
Yeah, even worse, I got a hard difficulty. I almost got an extreme difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So great. He looks you up and down.
I just blow smoke up in the air above him.
Yeah, he
The fan
holds his nose and
well,
he's that way.
Yeah, and I say sorry about the smoke, but I was breathing it up, looking like I was trying to get it over him, but I knew the fan was going to blow it in his face because I've been in here before. I go find Joey.
Yep. So he says, Lemro.
What's up, Joey?
You dog. What are you doing here?
Doing some work. It's a simple job.
Glad you were able to pull yourself out of bed. Heard you've had some hard times recently. He looks up and down.
My wife passed away, so I kind of give him a look like, but that's not a lie. It's technically true. I pull out my little notepad and I look like I'm actually like in business mode, and I say, the case regarding them 3 kids at the Great Memphis's house. I need, if I can get it, the full case record, but I know you're probably not going to relinquish that to somebody like me. So I can just ask some questions about it and you can answer them for me.
Yeah, and what you're doing it for you're representing who?
My client would like to remain anonymous, but I will say that Pickering are involved. So if that helps you kind of suss out what's going on here.
Yep. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I can give you the contours of what's happening.
Sure.
He says that It took place on the first floor of Memphis's mansion in the prop room, which is a place where he stores his magical props, like his trick stuff, near to the kitchen. He says that one burglar was impaled with 5 swords,
Mhm.
some of which were actually stuck into the wall and proved very difficult to remove. Another was strung up by a rope and hanged by the neck. A small pot lay knocked over near his feet. The third was missing both feet and hands. The wrist chopper stage prop nearby was drenched in blood and clearly the implement involved in the mutilation.
So it's obviously going to be a lot for the cleanup job on some of those props and possibly
I'll
some
give
of
you
them
a
destroyed.
psychology roll.
Oh, I'm mainly just trying to act like I am
No,
trying.
I understand.
Okay.
So he's telling you this, and a psychology roll would allow you to suss out what's happening with him.
84, I failed.
Okay. Keep going. What are you
So
gonna say?
he says, so it sounds like a lot of these props need to be cleaned. Some of them sound like they're going to be irreparably damaged and probably have to be replaced. Bit of a costly bit of circumstance for the insurance company, I'm guessing.
Well, we confiscated the props directly after we found the murder scene, and they've since been returned.
Okay. And returned in the condition that they were in, or I presume.
Yeah, in the conditions they were in, we're not. Yeah, that's right. So you'll see them in the condition that they were found in.
Gotcha. Got to have those details.
And he says, okay, keep going.
Any signs of any other parties? It does sound like the official report, according to what I've been able to glean, was they killed each other, pranking around with these deadly props.
You see him sort of look to the side for a moment. I will allow you to do either a charm, a fast talk, or a persuade roll.
Fast talk.
Okay, what are you going to say to him?
Nothing's good because I can't roll dice good today.
I'm going to give you a bonus die.
Okay. I'm going to say to him, Joey, I am mainly just doing this to keep the insurance stuff, like tracked out and everything. But it sounds like you're going through a bit here. And it sounds like you're not sure what to believe. If you need someone to vent to, man, I'm not going to tell anybody. And it's not going to go on my official stuff.
He sighs. He kind of looks at you hard for a second. And he says that, in his professional opinion, none of these victims could have killed the other two in their wounded state. And no fourth person could have exited the scene without leaving footprints, given how much blood was spilled.
So
Yet, despite these concerns, he was told by his superiors to close the case quickly and privately, probably, he says, to avoid any press sensation that might cause embarrassment to Memphis.
Lemrose is not writing. You'll note he's not actually writing.
Yeah.
But he is locking it away in here to write later. And he kind of says, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Memphis is a big name,
and
big draw for Boston.
So I know that you do. There's more to learn. There's only so much that I can tell you, obviously. I think that there are a couple of places that you might go. You might talk to Orson Vaughn.
He kind of pulls out a piece of paper, kind of flips the sheet over. Very quickly, like as he's talking and saying words, he writes down what he was locking in his head so he doesn't forget. And then he goes, as he's kind of listing it off, he doesn't hear anything after Orson Vaughn. So he probably says it, but then Lemro kind of stops him in the midst of that list and says, Orson Vaughn, let's go back to that one. As if he were paying attention and like came up with something smart in the midst of it and says, why do you think Orson Vaughn might be somebody I'd want to talk to?
I mean, you've been around long enough in Boston long enough to know.
These kids were his.
The criminal. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Do you think it might have been an organized hit on this Memphis guy? Like they were trying to do something, and maybe Memphis has like maybe other connections or something.
I have no knowledge
idea
of that. It doesn't make sense to me. You might also talk to some of his fellow magicians. They tend to hang out either in, and I'm going to type this out for you.
Oh, you already mentioned, what was it, Harold Hawkins, right?
Yeah, Hawkins is Memphis's protege,
Yeah.
who is performing at the Wilbur. But the local magicians tend to hang out at the Ace Emporium Magic Shop, and they have a weekly meeting at Nelson's restaurant.
Do you know when the meeting takes place during the week? What day?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
I'll go scrounge around. You know I can get it. All right. Cool. And so, Vaughn, that makes sense, I guess, if those kids were related. And then Ace Emporium Magic Shop. See, the main thing is I have to do a stock inventory after you folks returned everything that you returned. And just make sure everything's sound there. Make sure nothing's missing. Is the house currently being, yellow taped or anything?
Hold on a second. Give me one quick second here. Is it yellow taped? Yeah, it's yellow taped.
Can I get a civilian warrant for access?
I'd need to work on that with my superiors.
It would be a huge favor for me, Joey.
You come back here tomorrow and I'll talk to you about it.
You got it. Make sure I'm not just storming in there, like 5 or so years ago. You remember that situation?
Boy, do I ever.
All right. Thank you, Joey. And,
okay, so
I head off.
Yeah. Let's cut to the other three. So we have Daphne and Sally and John, and you're headed to the lawyer's office, right?
Yep.
Okay, doke.
Yep.
So I'm sorry. Why are the lawyers involved?
Because they're responsible for Memphis's estate and his real estate holdings. Basically, they a person who's wealthy like that has got someone to help him with his legal stuff.
I gotcha.
And so something happened on the property, and so they're just kind of trying to figure it all out.
Story I'm
Estate
taking is probably actually happening, but I'm not involved really.
Yeah.
You're not there. You're not there.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, to Chad, there are people who are probably doing inventory and checking to see what was broken and taken.
So Pickering & Pickering is a prestigious legal firm with offices overlooking Boston Common, the oldest city park in the United States. Their office walls feature paintings of formidable old partners and maps of Boston dating from the Revolutionary War.
Can you repeat that? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so it's basically it's an old prestigious Boston law firm that's representing Memphis. Okay, so you enter a lobby and there's a secretary at a desk.
John is like bringing up the rear, but he's also kind of like looking around at the building, kind of like in awe. As like he's pretty well educated, but he's also not the person who typically gets to be in buildings like this.
Mm-hmm.
And considering it's like a historic building, he's really kind of just drinking it all in.
Yep, absolutely.
During the ride, Sally would have asked John about his background. Like, where does he come from? What does he do? Would he have mentioned that he went to school?
I mean, like I said, when you guys first found him, he was. When you guys first found him, he was reading a copy of Paradise Lost. So, and he, I mean, I'm not sure exactly where he would have found him. He doesn't really have his own shop yet.
Well, let me ask this: what did he go to school for?
I'm assuming
you can make it up, whatever you want.
Yeah. Let me see here.
It could be classics.
Yeah, English lit.
We'll say
It says he had.
classics.
Yeah, it said he had a natural flair for mechanics. So that could have just been like, like a passion that he pursued, whereas
Yeah.
like him being sent to college was sort of like almost like a prestigious thing for his family.
Hmm.
So he
Okay.
could actually like he is very intelligent and very well educated, despite his appearance and his trade.
Okay.
So yeah, let's say like English literature.
Okay. What about Daphne?
Daphne, like her
Hmm.
background.
Yeah.
Um, she would have said that she just came from money, and looking for adventure. Little party here and there. Never
What's her
hurt
last name?
anyone. Um, Lexington.
And that's her husband's last name.
Yeah.
Okay. So as they arrive, I know that Brown would have wanted to like take the like kind of trail behind, but Sally would have tried to like usher him in so that they're walking in together. Would he allow that?
You're muted.
Oh yes, yeah. He's mostly just trying to stay out of everybody's way because they seem to know what they're doing.
Mm-mm. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah. So
Oh, honey, you're part of the con now, honey. You can't back out of it now. So as they
all
arrive, she'll
right.
go hello to the secretary. Hi, I'm Sally. I'm here with Professor Brown and Mrs. Lexington. We're here. We've got to talk to the Pickerings right away.
What is
Like
this regarding?
straightens his tie and like adjusts his cap.
Oh, well, I'm not really
Estate.
sure. Wait, what? What?
An estate.
Oh, an estate. Yes, I'm afraid I don't know much about it. I'm just here assisting Mrs. Lexington and and Professor Brown. But it's very important and very confidential. We've got to see them right away.
So then the secretary turns to Daphne and says, "Yes, Miss. What is this about?"
My estate.
Can you say more?
I'd rather not. I don't have
Okay.
my lawyers present.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you to either make a charm or a fast talk roll.
Can I assist?
You could have a bonus die on the roll.
I guess I'll go with charm because I don't actually see fast talk.
Oh,
Success.
right on the money. Okay. She says, "Okay, miss, I understand the need for discretion. Please
Oh,
wait
honey,
here,
it's Mrs.
Mrs. Thank you. Yes. Uh, I'll be right back." And so she walks away. And
Is
then,
there anything behind the desk?
you see kind of old, very polished wooden cabinets, um, and they block the way to a corridor that leads to some offices behind.
Hmm.
You see a dapper gentleman in his 60s walk up with thick glasses, and Daphne, you notice that it's a rather unfashionable suit. But he says, "Yes, Mrs. Lexington. I don't recall you being one of our clients. What could I do for you?"
Well, I'm here, and we actually, my friend, you might know him, Mr. Memphis. He's gotten in a bit of trouble, and I had left some things over at his house one time. And I was just making sure that none of that had been stolen. So if you happen to see, I had left string of pearls. I don't know.
I love it. No, it's great.
I'm trying to get info.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
forget your patent leather pocketbook was there too.
I always forget about that thing. I leave it everywhere.
Oh, Mr. Brown, didn't you leave something there too, like a journal, Professor Brown?
Yes. Some very valuable historic writings. They were on loan from the university. Yes, the university library.
Cough,
They're
cough.
we the university needs to get them back.
Sally is kind
Anyways,
of like, "Ugh, that's enough, Mr. Professor Brown."
It is so
and
strange that you bring up the Memphis house, because there's some strange going-ons there right now that I've just been dealing with on my own.
what kind of strange goings on? I heard something had happened, but I've never gotten any details.
Oh, well, it is. I must keep my legal discretion.
Of course.
Strange goings on. You mean something supernatural is occurring there?
I don't know what you're talking. He looks genuinely confused.
Oh,
Genuinely confused.
Don't mind her. She's a bit she's a bit extravagant in her hobbies. Yeah.
well, I had a vision of something occurring there. Something strange and inexplicable.
He looks at you even more strangely. He's like, I don't know what you mean. But you obviously, he looks at Daphne, care about Memphis in some way. So I can tell you that there's been a horrible accident at his house. But
Accident, and that there might have been some stuff stolen, and you guys might be going over his estate right now.
as a matter of fact, that's true. Yeah.
Do you know if you could just happen to let me sneak in and get those things I'm missing?
Oh,
I'll be real quick. I know right where I left them.
you know right where you left them. Well, that is really unusual. I would have to have somebody from the office accompany you when they enter the house.
We do live in unusual times, after all.
Well, I mean, you did
Well,
say you were dealing with this all on your own. I mean, you guys seem like you're very understaffed right now.
So what are you
I
saying
would also
exactly?
feel I
Oh,
would
I'm
also
just
feel safer.
I'm an upstanding, educated gentleman myself. You can trust me.
Are you offering to investigate this matter?
Well, of course, anything to help a fellow. He doesn't finish the sentence.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Fellow.
Hmm. Very interesting. Looking again at Sally. I don't know quite what to
never
make of all
mind her.
this.
Never mind her. It's been a long night. She might need some fresh air.
I can tell you this though. Memphis has been away. He travels often. He's been away a little longer than normal, about 6 weeks.
Oh, that would
So
explain why he never returned those books I lent him.
They are overdue.
Well, as his dear friends, we know all about his coming, his travels all around the world to unlock the uncanny secrets of the world.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, let me think this over. You've given me something to think about. I'm not exactly quite sure what to make of all this. Looks again at Sally. Perhaps if you come back tomorrow, we can talk about this further.
So, oh my god, the funny part for me was when he said, "Yeah, some strange goings on there," and Sally's like, "Oh, do you mean something supernatural?" And the way I imagined it
Yeah.
was like the camera was like slowly panning in on Sally's face, and it was like very serious. The music was like coming into this beat where it's like tense music, and then it just switches back to the lawyer like, no.
No idea what
And
you're
then, like,
talking about.
record scratch, like, oh.
Oh my god! I was like,
It's like
That's why I
not
was
20
laughing my
He
ass
tried.
off.
So as you're walking out
strange.
together, you see
Yeah.
an elderly man in the hallway walking down the stairs, and he turns to you and he says to Daphne, "You were a friend of Memphis's?"
Worse. We run in the same circles.
I was just up there meeting with the Pickerings, and telling them about very strange circumstances in the house.
supernatural circumstances.
Allie.
And he looks at you, and his eyes widen actually. And he says, "My name is Caleb Madison. I was sometimes the caretaker for the house. Like I said, they had me up to give them my account of what happened. Um, it all happened so fast. There was so much blood. There were three dead teens, blood everywhere. There was a severed hand that was writhing on the ground. I think that there were 4 burglars. I don't know. Not sure.
The kids are the one who killed him.
I don't know. As soon as I saw what I saw, I ran from the scene and called the police.
You saw a fourth person.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It was really very traumatic. I'm sorry, but I must go.
I sense a deep fear in you, Mr. Madison. If
It was
you have anything more to say, please give me a call. And she'll like take out like a little like a dirty little napkin and scribble her. Oh wait, do people have phone numbers in 1920?
Really.
You can come seek me
Operators.
out at this bar, or I don't know, wherever the hell, in my apartment complex.
They could also just contact you with an operator.
Yeah.
I don't think my building will have a phone.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay, not everyone's rich like you, Daphne.
Or me.
Gosh.
Are you investigating this matter?
We are.
Who hired you?
That, for now, must remain in mystery.
Oh, okay.
Nobody hires Daphne. I hire people.
Nobody.
He's rich. I
So
don't
I'm just
know.
letting it hang out there that he was a caretaker of the house.
Well, I mean, is he like running off, or is he giving us a chance to like
Well,
harass you some
it
more?
looks like he wants to leave, but he hasn't left yet.
Okay. Well, hold on. Before
Wait,
you
he
go.
has keys.
Oh, keys. Okay. One last question. For me, is there a history of hauntings in this place?
I mean, he's a magician. He does magic tricks on stage. They're not real.
That's what I said.
Not his tricks, my dear, but rather strange things happening. Seeing people that shouldn't be there or couldn't be there. Like the fourth person that you did or didn't see.
I don't know. There was just so much blood. There were limbs on severed limbs. It was
Ugh.
horrible. I don't know how many people were there,
Okay.
but I don't know anything about mystical happenings.
Hmm.
I'm sure you don't want to go back to there, right? Anytime soon.
I don't know if I could. I don't know.
If you don't mind, we could go and check out the place and make sure that it's okay to go back for you. Make sure they've cleaned things up.
I don't. Why are you interested?
In going?
Hmm.
Oh, she
What?
left a string of pearls there.
And my
Oh.
leather pocketbook. Kind of points to Sally because she reminded her earlier.
And he had some historic texts on loan from the university that I've been sent to recover.
Okay.
And you know, Mr. Madison, after such a terrible ordeal, the spirits of the dead could still be haunting this space. And that is, after all, my specialty.
I don't know much about that. But I do know that I don't know if I could ever work there again. I would have no problem letting you in very quickly while I gather up my own things. I'm going to do that tomorrow evening.
We can drive you there.
Oh no, that's okay. I will meet you at the house. But again, it has to be very quick. I wouldn't want anything strange happening. I just need to get some belongings and be on my way. So
Wait,
let's
tonight?
say tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow night. Okay.
So let's
What
say
time?
7 o'clock tomorrow
All right.
p.m.
PM.
Sure. Go into the spooky house at dusk.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Lemro's gonna just shrug it if he's ever is told that. You know, that's not my plan. I'm definitely wanting to go there earlier. Crazies.
I mean, we might get in earlier if we plan ourselves right.
If I
When's
get
that
have an
the
stage
warrant,
performance?
the civilian's warrant that allows me to access
Yeah.
it as a private investigator, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
When's the stage performance?
Tonight.
8 o'clock tonight.
Mm.
I was gonna
It's
say
probably like 5 or something.
Yeah, 5 or 6 at this point.
after the
Does this theater have like, I guess, like heavy stage equipment like lifts and winches and stuff?
Likely, maybe.
It probably has some lighting equipment, but I'm not sure anything super heavy duty.
Like trap
I mean-
doors and all that
Oh,
jazz?
well, that sounds more like it for a magic show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
since
They definitely have the pulleys for the drops and stuff.
Elizabeth using that stage knowledge.
Nice.
I took stagecraft.
since
I worked a few shows
Lem-
in very old buildings too.
since Lemro doesn't care about libraries, I'm gonna after my conversation with Joe, I want to swing by the place, but I know it's probably farther away than my house is because the clamp is like right down the street. So I'm just gonna go back to my apartment and crawl into bed and I'm going to set an alarm for 7 so that I can get to the theater in my own car on time. And
Okay.
I'm just going to lay in bed and stare at the ceiling.
Great.
I'm thinking about what Joey said, and like my imagination is going all over the place. And I assume Lemro's main kind of point of like psychopathy is he's imagining that he did it. Like after the description of what happened to the kids, Lemro's imagining he was controlled by something, and it made him do it.
Okay, he's remembering back to
When he almost shot her, yeah.
yeah, he was possessed briefly and almost shot another. Yeah.
Yep, and he's just going to stare
So
at the ceiling, sweating.
So Lemro thinks Lemro did it, or Lemro thinks somebody else did it?
Lemro is currently in a stage of his mania where he has to remain in bed, and he thinks that it is very likely that if he's put into a situation that is supernatural, he doesn't know it is yet, but there's always the back of his brain that's telling him it is, that, I mean, he could be made to do all sorts of horrible things by the electric things that exist in this world. And he stares at the ceiling, and he's sweating, but he's very much calm because he's in his very safe place, his bed.
I cast Wrench.
Planomania!
You have a wrench.
I literally do not want to leave this bed, but I have an alarm that tells me I have to, so
Okay. So
I'm done.
at this point, you have the Harold Hawkins magic show to attend.
Yeah, at 8.
You've learned that you can go to the library if you want to. You can go to the Ace Emporium Magic Shop or Nelson's Restaurant at some point. And then there's, of course, that Memphis house itself.
I would be the only one who knows about the Ace Emporium and Nelson Restaurant, right?
That's right.
Sorry.
Professor Brown. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Brown. I'm very curious about the history of this house. Aren't you?
I am a fan of history.
Well, I wonder, and I really don't know anything about libraries. I didn't have the privilege to attend university like yourself and Daphne here.
Oh, didn't some little birdie tell you that one?
Tell me what?
That I was an educated man.
You told us that in the car on our way to the lawyers.
No, in the car on the way to the lawyers, he was like deep in thought about what the fuck have I gotten myself into.
Yeah, no, she asked you a question about your background, and you
and he
Yeah.
and he
Sorry,
said that
I
he
must
was
think
reading
confused
he was
about the
reading
context.
Paradise Lost or something like that.
But then I asked, like,
Yeah.
what did you major in? And you answered. But that wasn't in character?
No. That was me sort of speculating on my character because this is my first time with this character.
Okay.
So that was definitely like out of character conversation. It's certainly it's knowledge you would have known, but I'm not sure how you would have known it.
Well, her like during that car ride, she would have been grilling you about like what your background is,
Yeah.
so that she
That's
would have
fair.
made up a good lie when we got
Okay.
to the lawyers, which is why she said you're a professor.
That's what I was picking up.
Okay, so what do you think? We've got an hour to spare before the show. What about going to the library and seeing what we can dig up?
I do believe his like skills in that department are pretty good. Oh, it looks like English is his highest skill.
Look at your character sheet, the actual sheet itself.
You should have.
My library use sucks.
What do you have?
Yours is higher, John.
Yeah, it's not being. Okay, hold on a second.
I'm sorry, I have your sheet open. That's probably why.
Mine?
No, I have Joe's open.
Yeah, let me see here. English
John's.
70. Where's the library?
It's under the skills. Scroll down.
It's right under English. It's like English law library.
Persuade, spot hidden. Oh,
Hold on,
that's
hold
cool.
on.
There's
You're
even
looking at
slots for additional
Yeah.
skills.
Middle column
middle
in the
column.
bottom under where languages are.
Yeah, to the left of spot hidden.
Library use, 70. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty
That's
high.
really good. That is
Yeah.
We
really
found
good.
your special skill.
Yay.
Okay, so there is, there are many libraries. There's the Boston Public Library that you can go to for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Another historic building. John
Absolutely.
is like, cool. Like maybe joining up with these people wasn't such a bad idea. It's funny because he's like, John is like nerd rage, the perk personified.
I love it.
Okay.
All the brains, all the brawn.
So Sally will take a total assistant role. She will run around the library getting you the books you need, like digging through the little card catalogs for you, whatever kind of help you need to get the
And
information you
if
need.
you want to try to charm the librarian to provide you some assistance, you can get like advantage, a bonus die on his
Okay.
roll, for example.
Yeah.
As she's like tearing through like the cards, John's like, hey, mind the Dewey Decimal System.
I'm sorry.
So at first, the librarian will point you to a bunch
Deep
of
cut.
volumes on magic. I didn't get the deep cut.
Dewey Decimal
The
System.
Dewey Decimal System.
Dewey Decimal. Okay.
It's like extinct.
Oh, okay. But if you're looking specifically for information about Memphis, is that right?
The house he's in.
The house he's in. Okay.
That could include like newspaper articles if they have a newspaper archive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is a newspaper archive. And let's have a library use roll, and I'll give you a bonus die on it.
Oh yeah. Okay, so there's the roll. I'm
You
not
don't
sure how I
need the bonus.
Don't
Oh,
even need the bonus.
you killed it, right? So you're not able to find too much that's interesting about the house itself in terms of like a deed or things like that. But you are able to find information about Memphis and his career. You find, for example, society pieces that mention glittering performances given by Memphis throughout Europe prior to the Great War, and latterly through Asia and the Americas. You do find some specific articles that you find interesting and maybe even curious.
So
I'm going to show.
chronologically, between
Yeah.
those three countries or continents, what was his like? I guess like what was like the order of the significance of those performances?
Yeah. So it sounds like he started in Europe and then made his way through Asia.
Gotcha.
So you find an article from 1919, which I'll show you now. Maybe you can take a look at it.
Oh shit. And okay. So I'm sorry, is that related to this case or
No, so the current year is 1927. And so this article is dated 1919. So I'm not sure if someone wants to read it out loud or you want to read it by yourselves.
Memphis, the
Boston
Great, missing.
Magician.
Boston
Yeah.
Magician, Memphis the Great, famous for his elaborate stage illusions, has disappeared for real this time. Visiting the kingdom of Bhutan, he reportedly embarked on an expedition into the Himalayan mountains, but has not returned. His party is 5 days overdue, and he has missed his scheduled performance for King Ugyen Wangchuck. Bhutan is located on the border between India and China. King Wangchuck united the country following several civil wars and rebellions in 1882 to 1885 and was an instrumental figure in obtaining the Anglo-Tibetan Convention of 1904.
And you also find this one, dated a few days later.
Memphis alive! Memphis the Great, reported lost in Bhutan, has been located alive and well. The renowned Boston conjurer and his assistant, Miss Josephine Lynch. were found by the king's men as they returned from the foothills of the Himalayas. Memphis and Miss Lynch had been menaced by brigands and were forced to flee into parts unknown. They were exhausted and hungry, but otherwise unharmed. The king vowed that the bandits would be hunted down and brought to justice. Memphis the Great promised to deliver his delayed performance for King Wangchuck as soon as he could obtain, quote, a good meal, a full night's sleep, and a clean shirt, unquote.
Nice. And then you're also able to find this slightly older article from about 4 years prior.
All right, Gijo, you got this one.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
A magical match. A magical match. Young conjurer Harold Hawkins pulled something special out of his hat yesterday. An apprenticeship to Memphis the Great. The two will work together to develop a new show for Hawkins, who hopes to follow in his mentor's world-spanning footsteps. It's a dream come true for me, said Hawkins. I always believed that those long nights spent practicing in front of the mirror in my room would pay off. I'm going to need a bigger room to practice in now. Dark times are when people need magic more than ever, said Memphis the Great. It's time I encourage the next generation of performers, and I intend to start with Harold here. He's fooled me once or twice. Hawkins has already gained a reputation for skill in cigarette and coin manipulation. He will turn 20 next month, so if he turned 20 in the 1915, then that means
He's
he
about
is
the same age as John. I think John's a little bit older.
37, it sounds
He's
like.
We're in the
32.
31. Yep, 31, 32.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's actually he's 5 years older than John.
How old is John?
26.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, he's a youngin.
Okay, I thought you were older based on what you were saying, but you weren't.
So my question from all this is, what the fuck happened to Josephine Lynch?
Is I'm assuming she's like
Assistant.
aristocratic in nature.
You have to tell me on that being the case.
Let's see here. Let me reread that. Oh, his assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
You know, the one he saws in half.
That's a good question.
Magician.
Yeah, if we still got some more time to dig around in the library. So he's a renowned Boston conjurer. Let's see if we can find any information on Josephine Lynch.
Do we have time before the show?
It's getting very close to the time of the show.
Okay, we should probably leave.
So about 7 o'clock rolls around, alarm goes off. I roll out of bed. It takes me a good 20 minutes to get back to a state of semblance. I do change my shirt.
Wait. Can I steal the clippings?
Can you steal the clippings? Yeah, let's see. How are we going to do this? What kind of a roll do I want to make you do? Hold on a second. And
okay, how about this? Can
you sleight of hand?
Sleight of hand?
If you want to steal them, you can do sleight of hand. If you want to try to convince her, that would be a different thing.
Okay, and I still have a bonus die that you were going to give me, right? From
I did.
My little thing? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You don't need it. Yep. So you're able to rip out the pieces when the librarian isn't looking, and you can take those newspaper clippings with you.
I just love stealing.
It's in your. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay.
So nice. Also during this, Daphne would have gone home and gotten ready for the theater, and then gone to the theater early to exchange these accidental tickets that were bought for her in the wrong section.
How early?
Probably like show starts at 8. Probably between 7 and 7:15.
Lammer wouldn't be there yet.
Let's see. Wow, okay. All right. How are you going to do this? How are you going to convince them to upgrade you?
Well, she got gussied up for a reason.
Okay.
She went, instead of going to the library, she went home to get ready.
Got it.
and hoping to like charm her way into better tickets
Right.
and ready to slide over the difference.
So there's a teenage boy behind the box office selling tickets.
Mm.
And so you go up and
Hey there, young man.
okay.
I have a little issue that happened. One of my friends, they bought me these great tickets for the show tonight, but she bought me them in the wrong section. Can you believe that?
Ugh.
You wouldn't mind exchanging them. I can pay the difference, of course.
Can you make an appearance roll?
Sure.
So that's just one of your top abilities. Not so much a skill. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's good enough. So he will definitely make that exchange for you, especially if you give him the difference.
Hmm.
And so you now have box tickets. Either that would you want them right up front, like right by the stage, or you want box tickets overlooking?
Um. I'm gonna say box tickets.
Okay. You have 4 box tickets.
Perfect.
So, did she manage to upgrade the tickets?
Yes, she
You
did.
have box tickets.
You said they're box tickets? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna make a quick beer run downstairs, but I do have there as far as when the show is going on. Basically, when Harold goes on stage, John has an idea that he and Lemro are gonna pursue.
Okay. So when you say you're going to make a beer, and that means you like in out of character in real life are going to get some
No,
beer.
no.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
out
okay.
of character. Yeah, I'm gonna head downstairs and buy some.
So can I just check in with you real quick about timing? Is 9 o'clock a good stopping point, or how do you want to do this?
I can go till 10, but whatever you need
I
to
don't
do.
want. I'm going to be respectful of people who have to get up for work.
Understandable. I'm
Oh
just saying.
yeah, I can go till.
Don't work tomorrow.
Yeah, I can go till 10 p.m. your time.
Okay.
Eastern.
Great.
So if that's
Do you
like
want to take a
another hour,
5-minute break
15
then?
minutes. Oh yeah, 5 minutes will be perfect.
Okay. Let's do that.
Excellent, cool. I will see you all in 5.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm
I'm gonna pet this dog.
gonna mute up and do a go. Yep. Be right back.
Okay.
Not even very expensive. How much was that box? Oh no, my thing's been going this whole time. All the viewers could hear me talking.
Hello.
I like how John looks like guilty. Like eating popcorn is this like disgusting crime.
Yeah, just eat it right in front of my face, John.
Okay, got it. The corn makes sense.
She allergic.
I know.
Allergies.
Mother Earth, we said, "Fuck you, bitch."
She said,
You
"You
can't have
can't.
shit.
You can't eat. You can't have shit."
Oh my god, did you just mention Jimmy Savile to me right now?
I did.
Wait,
How
what?
fucking dare you?
Gross.
Yeah.
It's fitting though.
Yeah.
Jimmy Savile?
Not for
How?
this.
Oh.
For House Noman.
The villain.
The
Okay,
villain.
a villain. Okay. I was like, what the fuck is happening
I
right
mean,
now?
not exactly like his crimes, but like
No,
his
no.
kind of like
Very
he can't have
personable.
done that. He's such a good guy. He can't have done
Ah,
that.
okay.
There's no way. And then you realize, oh fuck.
You know, I should have paid attention to the tracksuits. I don't understand how it got past people. I really don't.
I really don't either. This dog is like dead asleep.
I know it's tempting, but don't eat her. Oh no. No, she's fried chicken, but don't eat her.
She just opened her eyes and looked at me like, bitch, you better not.
She said, I'm the most delicious fried chicken in the land.
Nom, 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 nom.
But no.
Don't fight, you baddies.
He needs a bath and a haircut.
Hmm.
You really need like a shave. Because it's summer. Oh, she is out.
You doing a bad thing back there? You're not doing a bad thing back there, are you? You wouldn't do
Bad is
that.
bad.
Whenever he tries to fake like he wasn't, he like, couldn't have been me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm.
It was.
You having a good nap? Little baby?
So what do you think, Liz? What do you think of this system?
It's fun.
I like the setting. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the setting is super fun. I'm just like trying to adjust to it a little bit. The concept is also interesting.
I was born to play Lemro.
What?
I was born
Yeah.
to play Lemro.
Yeah.
I
Right,
like
so
it because it's not so like it feels like it's you have to do less algebra or whatever, you know?
yeah.
Like with D&D it's a little bit more like
There's math to do.
math.
Whereas result, is it under number? Yay!
Yeah.
I did it. Or I did not do it.
Yay. Yeah.
Yep.
You let me brush your head. Good girl.
Not too bad stuff.
He said he's on his way back.
Okay. Good girl. See, that's not so bad. What the fuck are they doing?
Ooh.
Saw these neighbors are so fucking loud.
Yeah. Tell her to move to Indiana.
Huh?
Tell her to move to
Oh, I'm
Indiana.
actually trying to, because they have a Textron where she works actually has a base in Indianapolis. And I
Awesome.
was like, both you and Ian work there. You guys could just move.
Yeah. Kansas sucks.
Yep. Look, her head's fluffy now.
Laura needs more friends to hang out with.
Yeah.
Shall we get back into it?
I'm ready.
Sure.
What was the plan,
I'm
John?
ready.
Yeah, John.
Right. So, as they're like, so basically, as they're like getting comfortable and like watching the show, and then Harold comes on. John kind of elbows Lem, and he says, "Hey, Lem, I got an idea. Come with me."
Yeah, sure.
And so basically, since he was originally like hired to be for like his mechanical skills and stuff, he like brought his tools in the car. So they head outside, and he grabs his like tool bag. How's Lem dressed?
The same way you saw him before, but just different undershirt.
Okay. Probably passable. So he with his tool bag in hand, John is gonna go try to find the backstage door.
Okay. I'm gonna
And
go with him, I guess.
Yeah, he says, just follow my lead. He's gonna head for the backstage door, and he's gonna basically try to get backstage and pass himself off as a mechanic who's there to work on something backstage.
Okay.
And basically, if they like pass anybody, he does that kind of thing where he like kind of tips his cap, but also like kind of covers his face, just to like not look conspicuous. But really, what he's doing is he's getting them backstage so they can go check out Harold's room while Harold's not there.
Okay. So, the backstage door is locked.
I'm not sure if lockpicking is a skill or if there's a skill that would be required.
There is a locksmith skill.
Yeah, not his forte. So John's just gonna knock. He's gonna knock loudly. Oh, I see. Okay, he went for it.
He went for it. It's all right. He came close. Actually, not too bad. Yeah.
Didn't you have a bonus die, or did you already use that one?
I don't remember.
I don't remember if you used the bonus die. I think you.
You don't have to give it to me. I don't care.
It's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you knock, and you don't hear any answer immediately.
He keeps knocking, like loudly.
And eventually, someone answers the door, and it's like an usher person.
Yeah, and he says, hey, yeah, I got a call, about fixing a winch or a lift back here. And he like holds up the tool bag.
Okay. So could you make I'll let you make a fast talk or a persuade roll, your choice.
Let's see here. I'm not seeing those. Listen, oh, fast talk. So there's fast talk. I don't see persuade.
Persuade is over on the right side.
It's right above
column.
spot hidden
Oh,
a bit.
yep, persuade.
Okay. He looks at your toolbox, and he seems really busy because the show is about to start. And he says, "Fine, it's over that way." He closes the door and walks away.
Cool. Like we get in and
Yeah,
we
you're in.
move
You're in.
quick, like we've got somewhere to be and something to do.
Okay. And where do you go?
We head for the dressing rooms and we try to find Harold's room.
Hey,
Okay. Okay. Give me a second to figure out how we're gonna do this.
Thanks for rolling with it. I was like, I think I got an
Didn't
idea and an
expect
angle.
that.
Sure.
Once we get to the door, Monroe kind of stops, places his hand on John's shoulder, and says, "Make it look like you're doing something out here."
Yeah, okay.
Anybody starts
Just
asking
starts
questions or starts moving towards the door, make a loud kerfuffle. What you got to do?
Yeah.
I'll see what I can't see inside.
Whoa! You can't come here. We've got live electricity.
Yeah, perfect. Whatever you need to say, man. He pulls out a flask, takes a sip, puts it back into his pocket, and then pulls out a camera and extends it, kind of like gets it out. And we'll go inside.
Okay. So you see
Good play, by the way, Chad.
Harold Hawkins has a dressing
Yeah.
room. The door is closed.
Oh yeah, I'm just searching the place for anything that's interesting to me.
So while you sort of walk through the back door backstage, you start to hear sort of the orchestra start up. And that's sort of your clue to know that Hawkins is probably not in the dressing room, and he's just about to walk onto stage if he hasn't done so already.
Yeah, I'm going into his dressing room with him.
Why don't we cut there,
Mhm.
and we'll go to the front of the house. And so Sally and Daphne, you you see that the Wilbur is on Tremont Street, a 1914 building in the colonial style. There's an excited buzz in the foyer as the crowds gather for this evening's performance. Although both of you have pretty keen eyes, you see that there are still a bunch of seats available in the rear of the orchestra pit and throughout the balcony. Daphne, you probably figure out that you were able to get those upgraded seats because the house wasn't filled.
And this is probably somewhat strange.
Well, you take that as you will.
Mm.
What day of the week is it?
What day of the week is it? Let's say it's a Friday.
Ooh, that would be strange. Like it's either
Yeah.
going to be a really bad show or something weird's going on.
Well, he's the great Memphis.
We can't all be the great Memphis, okay?
So there's an acrobatic troupe that's just finishing up.
Mhm.
They've done some juggling and balancing, and they form at the end a three-tiered human pyramid. Then the curtains part and Harold Hawkins walks through, elegant in white tie and tails. Behind him, the stage is completely bare. Even the building's brick walls are visible. He steps through the open curtains, and then they close behind him. And with a brief wave of his hands, he begins a silent billiard ball manipulation routine. He holds the ball between two fingers, transferring it up and down his spread fingers slowly at first, and then with incredible speed. The ball defies gravity for a few seconds, rolling along the underside of his hand. It changes color. A second ball appears. The ball jumps invisibly from hand to hand. A third ball appears, and then a fourth. Finally, Hawkins catches a top hat that's thrown from the wings, drops the 4 balls into it, casually turning it over and dropping it onto his head. The audience gives him applause. He steps back, and the curtains behind him part. And you see that the stage is now draped in an exotic arrangement of colorful fabrics evoking an Arabian palace, with cabinets and couches arranged in an arc facing the audience. He has his assistant come out, and he does some of the typical sawing the lady in half tricks and things like that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does he introduce the assistant?
He does. Her name is Edith.
Good name.
I'm sorry, just give me a moment.
You're fine.
Hawkins then walks to 2 intricately decorated upright wooden cabinets that are wheeled onto the stage, and each is positioned to face opposite wings of the stage. I'm going to ask for each of you to do a spot hidden. So that would be Sally and Daphne.
Mm.
Hey. So, as each door is opened, a dim, eerie glow emanates from the cabinet's interiors. You're able to spot Egyptian-style detailing on the cabinet's bodies, which seems to have been painted black, maybe to hide those markings.
That's suspicious. Other than them being Egyptian, do they look familiar at all from this distance?
No, they just look like wooden cabinets. Hawkins tells a story about the demands of being on long tours and how much he misses his family while abroad. He talks about doing a show every night and the extended travel time to return home from cultured European capitals and the bustling streets of Morocco and Cairo. He jokes about the tedious pastimes required during long sea voyages and the effect that air travel has on his digestion. Then he explains he has invented a way to return home instantly, to visit the family and pick up any small items he has forgotten. He pats one cabinet and walks to the edge of the stage, explaining that all he has to do is to leave one cabinet at home and take the other on tour. Then he declares, I simply have to do this. And he runs at one cabinet, leaps, and emerges from the other with no visible means of traversing the space between them.
Audible gasp and like a little like ah.
Yeah, audible gasp. That's right. That's right.
Sally is doing a concern.
What does that mean?
Does Sally
What does
has
that mean?
a 45 in occult.
Okay.
Do you think her knowledge of the occult would pair those hieroglyphics that have been covered up plus this teleportation fuckery. Is there anything that she could piece together?
I will allow you to make either a psychology roll, a spot hidden roll, um, let me think if there's another one. It would have to be a hard occult roll, a regular psychology or spot hidden, or a hard occult roll. Your choice.
Wait, okay. You said psychology?
Or spot hidden, or those were regular checks, or you could do an occult roll, but you would need a hard to get a success.
Oh man, I want to be a spooky bitch, but
Occult it up.
I'm gonna do it.
Yep, go for it.
You
No!
failed it.
Oh my god.
Liz, I'll let Daphne make a spot hidden roll.
Is there any way I could get it
or psychology? Go ahead.
with a bonus?
Did you
Or
use
there's
bonus
no way
die?
that or there's no way that I could make it with a bonus.
You would have to get a 0 or a 1.
I'm not gonna use it.
So Liz, you could do either a psychology or a spot hidden.
Or she
Oh,
can just do that.
very nice. So,
Well-
so beautiful. So you are not so much paying attention to the cabinets, and instead you're paying attention to Harold Hawkins. And once he runs through and appears somehow instantaneously coming out of the other cabinet, you see that he sort of pauses for a second and puts his hand to his head as if he's steadying himself, but it's just really, really minute. Okay. He then moves on to his final trick, which is levitating his assistant, Edith. She lies upon a table and slowly, with no covering, rises to float in the air above Hawkins' head. He passes a hoop over the assistant to show that there are no wires. Okay. Just then, one of the edges of the table lurches up and Edith falls head first into the ground. The audience is quiet and then murmurs begin. Edith is still lying on the floor. The theater manager rushes out and announces there's been an accident and if there's someone with medical training in the audience. You know that this is not a trick.
None of us
So
are
I'm just gonna. All of you have first aid as skills, so you might want to consider that as an option. If you have anything above, let's say, a 10, that means you have at least some minor training in first aid.
I'm not out there.
Okay. So, Elizabeth, you're muted.
You're muted, yeah.
Sorry, I have 30 in first aid.
I have 32. Let's go.
Okay, so you can dash up to the stage. And what do you say?
I was a Girl Scout. They might not actually exist. I'm sorry.
I was a Girl Scout. I took a safe sitter course.
Yeah.
So as you rush out, and as people sort of come out from behind the curtains to see what's happening and to help Edith, the audience starts to file out of the theater. Like, and ushers start to sort of escort them out. Like the show is now over.
Sally would squat down and kind of say, "Hey, Edith, are you all right?"
So go ahead and make a first aid check.
Can you help her with that? Oh,
You could use
Dismal.
that. You could use that die if you want to, and you could also do a first aid check, Daphne. Oh, nice, very nice. Okay, so
magical girling this.
right?
Without magic.
Well, maybe Sally is so focused on the magic that she's not focused as much on the practical stuff as what you're getting
Yeah,
into.
it's alright. She's distracted by the cool occult stuff.
Magic girl
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah. And so she definitely has hit her head pretty hard. There's a good amount of blood. There's a gash on the back of her head, and you know that she should probably get to the hospital. But you're able to kind of figure out that you can put pressure on the wound with maybe some sort of a quickly made dressing to help while she gets to and elevate her head and things like that that would help her as they can get her to the hospital. And you don't need to do that. But the theater manager thanks you very much, and Harold Hawkins, who looks visibly shaken, walks over to both of you and thanks you so much for the help, and invites you both backstage.
Oh,
Wait,
great.
do we know that the boys went back there?
I don't know where the boys went.
I don't know. Did you tell them that you went there, or did you just peel off?
I think they peeled off.
John, was that what happened?
Yeah, we didn't tell them. So we're in the backstage, and
That's right. They're coming back there, and you don't know. Don't know that.
I would have been searching. I would have had some time to search. If I heard the music stop, I would have immediately moved out.
So let's pause and cut back to the backstage then, right? And so you're in Harold Hawkins' dressing room, right? Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And people that come near, like, I'm not sure what welding equipment was like back then, but welding is like one of John's like highest skills. So if he could have like a lit torch and just like wave it around, and also be like, hey, we have live electricity over here, because that's also one of his high skills. So anybody that basically comes near the room, he's kind of just like, like,
so in the room you find a bunch of books and papers and props, as you would expect. You find additional tuxedos on a rack. You find makeup and a mirror with lighting, so he could sort of fix himself up before the shows. You also see a locker.
Sure. Is it locked?
The locker is locked.
Cool.
So you can.
I'm not gonna try and pick it.
So there's two ways. You could try to pick it, or you can try to break it.
I'll look around for a key or mechanism to open it.
Sure. So let's give me a spot hidden roll.
Sure.
And you don't find anything.
Even with a 32?
Yeah, because it's just not there.
Oh, well then why'd you say roll a dice?
Because I want you to try.
You could have just said it's not there.
I didn't. I wanted to do it this way.
You're turkey.
You searched, right? You searched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I find anything interesting besides that with that search?
Not particularly. Not particularly, no.
Okay. If it's
actually, I'm wrong. You find 2 dog bowls and some water.
But no dog.
I'm sorry, you said dog bones?
Dog bowls, like for food and water. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Does he have a dog?
bones could have multiple meanings.
Bowls.
Music pretty loud?
The music is pretty loud. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I pull my pistol out. I walk over to the lock and I smash it with the butt of the pistol.
Okay, so why don't you make a brawl roll?
Yeah.
So like basically an unarmed strike.
Sure. My brawl should be 55. I don't know why it's 45 on the sheet.
Okay. Well, you can fix it if you want.
Well, I'm just gonna roll it now before I change it.
That's fine.
Would have been under 55.
Okay. Well, that's a success.
I remember specifically using experience from the very first session to get better at fist fighting.
Cool. I'm not sure what happened exactly.
That's fine.
So it's a success, and you're able to break the lock. It pops off.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, what's in it?
Inside, you find a handgun
I take that.
an old leather book.
I take that. I don't look at it. I just take it.
Okay.
Okay. Then I close the locker and then very carefully put the lock back on, knowing that it's no longer functional. But
not only that, but you broke the mechanism with which the lock attaches to the locker.
Sure, that's fine. but if you kind of slot them kind of back together, if it's the kind of lock that I'm thinking at, like master lock, you can kind of
Okay.
slot it on so it looks like it's still a lock, but you could just pull it apart again. Like it's
Yeah,
not functional, but it sits there and it looks like it's still locked.
If you've ever tried to set up your siblings to catch the blame,
I'm setting up my sibling to catch the blame, and then I'm going to look around once more, give it a once more over, but if the music stops at any point during that once over, I'm stepping outside, getting behind
Yeah.
John.
You hear the music stop,
I
yeah.
walk up behind John and I say, all right, let's move.
yeah, John packs up his shit and he says, "Oh, okay, cool, yep,
And then
all right, let's go."
I tell him, not the way we came in, try and make it back to the main audience so we can just walk through instead of out and around.
Yeah, so it's like the interior backstage door.
Yep.
Right, cool. So they do that.
Okay.
And again,
Okay.
like doing his whole like if
I-
they pass anybody, he's just tools in hand, like tip of the cap, like tries to obscure his face.
I'm assuming most attention at this point is going towards the stage, and I'm sure with everybody's kind of the gravity of the situation is kind of focused in that kind of venue.
That's right.
All I'm trying to do is once the lights kind of come up and like everyone's kind of like what's happening and like oh and everyone's kind of applauding and like getting their leaving. I'm trying to look as very clearly noticeable in the audience, looking around for Daphne, not knowing where she is, assuming she's much more noticeable than Sally is, because Sally's a shorty. And if I see Daphne up on stage, I'm basically just going to kind of look up towards her, like pull my hat off and kind of wave so I can at least let her know where I'm at.
Okay. So I'm going to have you do a spot hidden roll, Daphne, because there's a lot going on and you're trying to catch this thing that Lemro is throwing down.
And I'm trying to make it very clearly obvious, like so if someone else sees it, they see it too, but because I don't care. But
John's gonna be sticking close to Lem.
Oh,
but he's
geez!
very
Wow,
much
you are on fire tonight. Yeah, so you're
I'm gonna roll
able to
shit
see.
tomorrow.
So you see exactly what's going on. There's a lot going on stage. There's people milling about. You've just helped the assistant, and she's been hurt. You've been invited backstage, but you do catch out of the corner of your eye, Lemro. Like that a jerk has snuck around backstage without telling you. You don't know what he's done, but he's done it, and you know which direction he's going. So if you go backstage, he's not going to be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
I'm kind of
yeah.
out in the audience, yeah.
Oh.
So
Okay.
Well, she would even if she thinks he's leaving or whatever, she'll be like,
okay, yeah, I'm
Come
watching
on,
her. If she's
Yeah.
like, if she wants to kind of like meet at stage, I'll come to like the foot of the stage and kind of like look up to her and talk to her real quick. And I go, "What'd you do to her?" What?
I saved her. That's what I did.
I do a quick one of these.
What'd you do?
I do a quick one of these and show a little book inside of my my jacket, and then kind of like something stupid. Are you sticking around or
Oh, well, I was invited backstage, so
by who?
stage manager. That's who invited me, right, Andy?
Yeah, I think, and also Hawkins himself.
Hawkins, yeah.
We're not going
And
back.
Hawkins.
He wants to thank you for your kindness, basically.
We're not going back to Hawkins's dressing room, are we?
Lem's like
I don't
Hawkins
know.
muscling in on my territory.
Well, I'm just saying.
What'd you do?
I kind of look up at her and say, "Do you want to use the excuse that I'm your date and maybe let me go with you, or do you want us to leave?"
At that, I mean, you guys are up on stage, right?
Man,
Yeah.
I muscled my way up.
John's still like kind of hanging around, but still trying to play the role of the mechanic.
Yeah, who doesn't know what's going on?
There are still ushers that are moving about on stage as well, John. Keep that in mind.
Oh, are these caskets still on stage?
The boxes?
Yeah.
Well,
The
we don't know
cabinets?
about them.
Oh wait, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. Sally and I do.
So you
And we're
see
about
that
to get
there are
a
some.
backstage tour.
Yeah, there are some workers
You know what?
who are packing up the boxes and wheeling them back towards the backstage area into Hawkins's room.
You know what? Me and John got the cars, so you ladies don't really have much of a means of getting out of here without us. If you don't want to take us back and you want to go meet with your new beaux, that's perfectly fine. We'll be outside in the cars. And
It's Daphne's car.
yeah, but we'll have them. No, you're not there to argue with me. Shut up. I'm right.
That's a very Lem thing to say.
But yeah, if you want to go and deal with that, that's fine. Just yep.
All right.
Sally, this whole time has been trying to kind of keep the attention of Hawkins and the stage manager. Come on, not Mrs. Lexington.
It is.
I keep trying to call you Gertrude.
Daphne.
Daphne. She
come on,
has red
Daphne.
hair.
Oh,
I
okay.
just can't wait till your character starts talking about the ancestors.
Oh no, my internet.
It could happen at any moment.
Great.
Let's go. So wait. Okay. So wait. I'm sorry. Out of character. Are they taking Edith? Like they
So,
call the ambulance?
right. So separate people who work with the theater are
Okay.
bundling up Edith and taking her for the medical
Okay.
attention.
Cool.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, okay. It looks like Edith is going to be okay. They're taking her to the hospital. Let's go on back and see what these and talk to these young gentlemen.
Yeah, it was a great show. And kind of like sidles up to Huntington.
Harold Hawkins.
Hawkins. Sorry, fuck.
It's fine. No worries.
So many names.
It's a lot of names, right? And so backstage, he is very charming and thanks you so much for your help.
Mhm.
But it's obvious, though, that he's under great strain. That
Mhm.
the events of the evening has been very
Mhm.
stressful to him. In walks a young lady around Hawkins' age, and he says, "Oh, this is my fiance Ingrid." And she worriedly looks at him and says, "Harold, are you okay?" And he says, "Yeah, yes, I'm okay."
There's just a little accident on stage. It'll be fine. Everyone messes up sometimes.
That is true. But it was, I was very worried about her, and I feel responsible.
It's understandable, sweetie.
Well, there's no way you could have known that would have happened, right?
I've done that trick. I don't know how many times, and this is the first time, but I suppose you're right.
Oh, a bit of unexpected misfortune.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
You don't
It's like
happen
that's
to
been going
have
around.
any enemies, do you?
He looks a little perplexed by that question. What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. Anyone who could have, I don't know, jinxed you with their intentions or given you a bit of that evil eye. You never know.
I'll allow both of you to make a psychology roll. Liz,
Ugh.
you have a bonus die whenever you want to use it.
I'll use. Oh no. I
No,
thought I
I'm
had
not
a
gonna use
good,
it on this
better
one.
psychology. Oh shit! Wait, I'm rolling on hard.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait.
what's your base skill?
My base skill is 50.
That would have failed anyway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna use my bonus.
Oh,
Do
you
have
got
another
it.
one?
He didn't wind up
I never
using it.
used
He
it.
didn't. He didn't
Okay.
need
They
to
didn't.
use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They thought about it.
They did.
Sally,
Okay.
when you say that about sort of the mystical, the magical, like the evil eye, you see him look very briefly, visibly upset, and you see him turning around and looking at and even putting his hands on the locker behind him. And you kind of mark this behavior as telling maybe that something of importance and
Was in
perhaps
there.
even in perhaps comfort is stored in the locker.
So I'm sorry, Lem and Daphne are currently in
No,
there.
Lem's not there. Lem's outside with
No,
you,
no.
smoking a cigarette with the 2 cars far away in the parking lot. And
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, I'm just gonna ask John, like, what happened with him, and then Lemro's going to explain what happened with him. If you want to just say we compared notes, that's great.
Mm.
Oh, as far as like what John was doing out in the hallway?
No, what John was doing when you went with these 2 fine ladies to go talk to the
Oh,
lawyers.
yeah.
We haven't caught up since then.
Okay, so at first, like, he's
Well-
kind of quiet and he seems like he's deep in thought, and then he sees that Lem lights up a cigarette and he looks at him and he says,
Yeah,
"Can I
I
get one
give
of those?"
I give him one. But the main thing I was just kind of narratively saying is we're doing this, and they're doing. I was going to shift back to them.
I
I
got
didn't
you.
want to seal this
Yeah.
scene,
So he gets a cigarette and then he kind of explains what they were.
and then vice versa. Cool.
Right.
Okay, so back in the backstage area, Sally, you notice that Harold looks under a good amount of stress, and like I said, he looks back to and touches the locker briefly. Ingrid says to him, "Harold, you don't look well. Perhaps you might want to take a moment to compose yourself." And he says, "I think you're right." And he sort of steps into a bathroom area, and you hear some water running, and then she's alone with you. And she says, I heard what happened. It was so good of you to help with Edith."
Is he quite all right?
Oh, magicians. They're under a lot of pressure. So many people watching every move that you make. My father is also a magician. He's Memphis the Great. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Oh, I love
Oh
Memphis.
shit! That's his father.
Her
No, it's
father.
Ingrid's father. Harold.
Oh.
Harold is Ingrid's fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Drama. Oh man.
Yes, of course. We
So-
Mrs. Lexington here runs in the same circles, of course.
Oh, do you? You know the magician circuit? It's quite a kind of self-contained little bubble,
She's
I
very
don't know all the
adventurous.
magicians, but I do know Memphis.
Do you? I mean, I think your father is very impressive, but I wonder, do you think he introduced her as fiance, right? Do you think your fiance's malady might be a spiritual one? And she'll take out like a little crystal on like a little quartz crystal on like a chain.
Wow. Are you a
Love her.
mystic?
I'm just a simple woman from a simple town. That's all. But I do sometimes get a strong feeling, and I'm getting a strong feeling today, here, now. Can't you feel it?
I don't know what to say to you exactly. Excuse me for a moment. I'm going to check on Harold. And so she excuses herself and she enters the room with Harold behind you and leaves you by yourself for a moment.
Leave this out of character. Leave.
You hear conversation sort of through the door between Harold and Ingrid, and it sounds like it's getting just a little bit more heated.
Can we
Mhm.
eavesdrop?
Yeah. So let's see. Is there a listen? I think listen is
Yeah.
a thing, right? So I'll let you both make a listen roll.
I want to pass that.
Ooh.
failed.
You
by
could
3.
use 3 of your luck points to pass that if you want.
Yeah, luck reduces
Done.
your number by the amount that you.
So just reduce that luck by 3, and you could get it as a success.
Nice. Oh, I
So
didn't
you
know.
hear things like, "You're not yourself." Ingrid is saying this. She's saying, "You need help." Always so angry. And he says, "Leave me alone. Mind your own business."
Ooh, trouble in paradise.
Yeah, it's okay. The source of their problems is gone, so they'll be okay soon.
I'm sorry. What did I miss something?
The magic
No.
book that he's
The book. Yeah.
Oh,
undoubtedly.
So-
Hawkins emerges from the dressing room, emerges from the room where he is, and leaves to check on some equipment, leaving Schwartz behind.
Who's Schwartz?
Ingrid, Memphis's daughter, Harold's fiance.
Ingrid Schwartz?
Yes. So
Memphis
so
Schwartz?
Memphis's real name is not that's his stage name.
Yeah.
His real name is Urk.
Of course, Andy the Magnificent.
Benny.
What? No, I have it somewhere. Sorry. Axel, Axel Schwartz.
I like Andy better.
That's his real name. But his
Oh,
stage name is Memphis the Great.
is that what the M
Um,
stands for? Magnificent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. know
Whenever Ingrid comes out, just
She seems
kind of give
visibly
her,
upset.
yeah, kind of give her like one of those like, oh, honey,
Mhm.
like seen this before. You want a cigarette?
Oh, her hand is shaking and she accepts a cigarette.
Yeah, hands her over a cigarette and lights it for her.
So Edith
It'll
is
be
alive.
okay. But Edith is going to the hospital.
Yes.
We're talking
Okay,
to
but she's-
Ingrid.
Oh, Ingrid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So many names flying around.
I know there's stuff
Yeah.
happening. It's okay.
So with Ingrid, kind of give her like a good little like pat on the shoulder, and if you ever need to talk, Daphne Lexington, just a phone call away.
Oh,
Is
she
it-
she looks at you, and you get the sense that if it weren't for this kind of highly charged emotional situation that you just kind of observed between the two of them, that she probably wouldn't let her guard down in this way. But she seems genuinely appreciative of you, kind of this human moment where you're reaching out to her, and she gives you her card and asks you to contact her at her hotel later on, to chat. Perhaps we could chat. She's staying in a hotel.
Mhm. And
Wait.
it's probably close by, right?
It's close by.
Great.
Oh, they from here?
Later tonight or just later?
Oh, at some later point. Probably not
Mhm.
later tonight. That doesn't seem
Okay.
like.
Yeah.
Wait,
Probably like tomorrow or something. Could take her out to lunch. That
aren't
sort
they
of thing.
from here?
They can be in a hotel.
No.
Yeah, well, but that's an interesting observation, though.
Yeah.
She's staying at a hotel, not they are
Yeah.
staying at a hotel.
Oh, true.
So her father, Memphis, has this mansion.
Mhm.
She's not living there.
Right.
She has a fiance, Harold.
Who lives
She's
here.
not staying with Harold.
Well, it was the 20s. You didn't really.
That's right. It's the 20s. So
It was looser than a couple of years later, but
mhm.
Shad, you're muted.
So Harold had a magic book that was cursed and causing.
You don't
problems?
know anything about that book.
We're not
You just
talking
know-
about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're focusing too much on the thing we're trying not to mention, so Andy forgets it, so it doesn't cause any problems for Lemro. Okay, so chill out with that shit, man. Goody
I mean,
two-shoes son of
you
a
did
bitch.
just steal the gun in the
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
You
no,
could have just
no.
left it alone.
These were all 100% things that happened. These are activities that I recognize, I've engaged in.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do
It's
is
like,
not draw
whoa,
so much
Lemro.
fucking attention to it, Chad.
Lem, looking kind of crazy in the eyes there.
God damn, fucking
Don't make me get my wrench.
fucking paladins, dude. Fucking
Like,
paladins.
do you know what I use this for? I use this to fix problems. Don't be a fucking problem, man. I'll fix you.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
But I mentioned it in the side. I do want to make sure it's mentioned. So Lemro is not stupid when it comes to crimes. I'm not just holding on to the book once we get outside. I'm putting it in my trunk, in my duffel bag, locking the trunk, and then smoking a cigarette with John and talking to him about catch-ups.
Yeah.
Same with the pistol.
Yeah.
The heater that he had, what was it? Nice or just a regular old gun?
I think it's a regular old gun. It's nothing. I think you probably would have better access to better guns.
Yep, Colt Single Action Army with a pearl handle. Yeah, I have a way better gun than he did.
So with the niceties out of the way, can Sally and Daphne leave this poor lady alone for the night? So
I think that's probably a good idea.
she can go take a Quaalude or whatever they did in the 20s. I don't know.
Sounds about right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we've got about 15 minutes remaining. Maybe we can go sort of just like summarize the investigation hooks that are out there that you could take up next time.
I was actually going to ask if we could reconvene at a place that is kind of operationally safe, like Daphne's place. Kind of meet up there and then look at the book.
That's
Well,
fine.
let's
She would
say-
offer up her place.
Well, let's say we compare notes, right?
Sure.
So, like everything that we learned at the library and that was learned from the lawyers, from the cop, from the that's actually what Andy literally said. But
Yeah, John has already caught John up on that.
Yeah. So I would definitely divulge all the information that I have. I would let you know that there's connections with Memphis regarding the community at Ace Emporium Magic Shop. There's connections with Nelson Restaurant. I have a civil warrant request put through Joe to allow me access to the Memphis estate and house to go over it as part of my being a private investigator. I have that access. But all that said, John's already caught me up on what you folks were doing with the lawyers. Great, that's good information. But check out this book.
wait. And last thing too. Okay, so at the library.
Yeah.
Marriage.
We found out that there is a Josephine
Lynch.
Josephine Lynch, who used to be his assistant or still is. We don't know what happened to her, and that he previously disappeared in Bhutan for some mysterious reason.
Okay. Cool. And what happened with the stage show last night? Or stage show just now?
So he was doing his little show. Both Sally and Daphne noticed there were these weird markings that said were like Egyptianish. Is that true? Okay.
Yeah.
And that they were like blacked out. And then
He
at the very end
ran
for the finale,
and like disappeared through one
Oh, he
into
could
one,
teleport
and
through
then
them.
but
Yeah,
he could teleport through them. Is what Daphne noticed. Like it looked a little weird. Like he was like gearing up for something.
Okay.
It was a little
And then
strange.
And then at the end, the finale was ruined because Edith fell down, busted her head open.
How's her to fall?
The table flipped, I believe. Flipped
Yeah.
up, I believe. And then she like slammed head first.
What caused that?
We don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds really interesting. Let's check out this book.
Okay, let's look at the book.
Okay.
Am I not supposed to have that book?
Oh no, you
Probably
can have the
not.
book. So this is the
Oh.
name of the book.
Okay.
Oh. Fancy.
So just like other mythos texts, John, it takes quite a while to read through and learn what's in the book. So you'd be able to make out the names of the spells in this book, but you wouldn't be able to learn them for use for a number of weeks.
Yeah, the whole time, Lemro, as he's going over it, is just saying curse words at random, like, fuck, shit, I fucking knew it. And Sally's probably, like, really interested, like, oh, like, this is the coolest book ever. But
So
yeah.
while they're like digging into the book, John's kind of standing back and he kind of leans over to Daphne and says, is this guy all right?
Depends on the day.
I think the connection that Sally's kind of getting is that Lemro's not looking at these pages and examining them as a novice. Like, I am getting, like, there's vibes that you're getting from Lemro. Like, I don't know everything verbatim by a long shot, but the kind of shit that it's coming up in these books is not new to Lemro. I've seen it.
The book seems to contain two spells that I've listed below.
Oh.
I don't recognize these names, but I get the nature of it. It's very similar to...
I mean, I recognize.
Great. Cool. I look at Sally. You know, I had a vibe that you were probably the type.
Wait, no, she'll recognize. I don't know if Sally would know.
Oh, probably not.
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't recognize the names verbatim.
45 in the occult.
Occult is not the same as Cthulhu mythos.
Wait, I have something in Cthulhu mythos.
You shouldn't.
Why do I have a 0?
Because you should not have.
Because
Cthulhu.
that's not what happens. Yeah, you get Cthulhu mythos through contact with it over time.
3 times, baby, and I have a 1. I have touched the fucking Eldritch horror 3 times.
But you have a cult, Sally. You can roll a cult. Go ahead.
I can?
Yeah.
Yay. 32.
Yeah, so what you're able to make out is really not the specifics of the spell, but it becomes pretty clear to you that these are summoning spells. These are summoning spells that will bring forth some sort of spirit.
And based on the Jinn experience,
something.
Based on the Jinn experience, I'm pretty sure me and Sally are both kind of coming to that conclusion together. Is that fair?
That is fair.
Yeah. And then
you could also probably come to the conclusion that what you'd be summoning is probably not a good thing.
Yeah, these names definitely don't look benevolent. I would say it sadly as I look at her. And then I would say, I basically, if she's curious, I would describe the entire engagement with the Jinn and how they were trying to summon this entity into this house and keep it bound there and use its power. And it started to break free after the people who kind of fucked up weren't able to kind of lock it down.
Did they make the person upset? Because he was very upset.
So, I'll let you know, Daphne, my experience with this subject matter, the people who do stuff in these books and like actually go through with what the book suggests are absolute fucking wastes of life. I've come to learn. So
I should convince her to get a new fiance?
Yeah.
I'm sure my son knows someone.
I'll be honest, he's probably not going to be terribly happy that this is gone. I do know that these assholes very key. A guy locked himself in a basement for nearly a decade because he thought he had power over death. Okay? And he controlled my mind and tried to make me shoot a lady. So these people are complete fucks.
Well, that's definitely not marriage material. She needs to find her.
John is like, he's in the background like, what? What? What?
There is nothing to be gained
by
communing with these entities other than madness, suffering, and great loss.
Oh, honey, that's just getting
That's
married.
beautiful.
Slams the book shut and looks at Sally and
That's
says,
just getting married.
I like
Wow.
says this out. I like your gumption. And he kind
Bonus
of
die to Liz.
almost like he's like handing the book over to Sally, and then he kind of pulls it away and puts it back into his coat and says, see though. Like, so Sally kind of said what she said, but like he also knows a bit about Sally being kind of a criminal, so he's not sure he can trust her yet to take the book.
Wait, who's gonna protect the book?
He almost like he said when you said what you said about the occult and how he says, I agree, and then kind of almost like he's leaning in to hand you the book, and then he says, but we'll see, and then shoves the book into his coat.
Wait.
Wait. So, how do we know we can trust you to keep the book?
Yeah.
How do we know you're not being mind controlled right now?
So I can explain very simply in 2 ways. First off, is I've had a gun the entire time we've known each other, and you're still alive. The second way I can explain is
he has a gun?
I took the book from someone who was using it poorly. I have not summoned Nyarlathotep or
Don't say his
Yogg-Sothoth.
name.
The book's closed. It's fine. I'm not reading the other words.
No. Even uttering their names draws their influence near.
You know what? Actually, I do remember the professor saying something about that. You're right.
Better
Okay.
you not keep the book.
No. I trust you a bit more than I did this morning, but still not quite enough to hand you something
There's
I know
one person
is a problem.
There's 2 people in this group that are very trustworthy, my dear Lemro, and it's probably not either you or me.
Oh, no, granted, and that's fine. But Daphne's sweetheart I would not allow to bear the burden of this eldritch horror. In fact, I'm
you
going
think
to...
I'm sweet?
Kind of smiles. Well, yeah.
A pure aura will protect them from the corruption that lies within.
You know
So,
that's not how
John.
it works.
It can.
Wait. Hold on.
A corrupted soul like yours or mine.
Let's
you don't
compare-
think is more
Let's compare
at
notes.
risk?
What have you seen?
I mean, she has seen, greedy, ambitious people use their workings with the occult.
So you haven't seen the corpse of a bear rise up and try to assault people inside of a house, and you, being the only person who can stop them from that happening, drive your car through it?
She saw
John
a mystical
interrupt.
time machine, and she saw one of her companions
Well, she
John is
appear
going to-
dead
I
out
mean-
of nowhere.
I mean, this isn't like a dick measuring contest,
No,
right?
no.
It's just like
John's
Lemro's
gonna
not
start
trying to measure
frisking
phalluses. That's not what he's trying to do. Lemro is trying to ascertain whether or not you understand the gravity of this, or are just preaching vapid words at me. You've said
no, she understands the gravity. Like this is not Sally trying to be mystical.
Does Sally tell
she
her
has
story?
She's had to fight against
John
like
needs a
temporal
cigarette.
creature, like a temporal creature with like with a knife, like bashing it away while her friend like destroyed it. And she has seen she's been through this horrible ordeal with like people popping in and out of time like ghosts.
You lay it out, and you lay it out on the line in detail.
Yeah,
Like,
she's being totally 100% authentic, not being a charlatan.
And John, again,
She's
smoking a cigarette. During the conversation, Lemro immediately just kind of pops it over to him. And is listening to Sally
he's like,
intently. After the conversation, he tosses the book out onto the table. If you want to hold it, you can. I hope that you can trust that after I told you my stories, you know that I'm taking this very seriously. If this gets back into Mr. Hawkins' hands, problems, and only problems arise from that. I have his pistol. If he wants to come and get this book filled with hell's horrors, he's going to have to eat one of his bullets first. Period. And they can lock me up for centuries. I don't care. So long as it stops this book from doing what it's supposed to do. I think you agree with me. That's what's got to go down.
I don't want to hold it.
He takes the book back. I'll bear it. You know that I'm not going to use it for what its intended use is. And I put the book back into my jacket. I don't think these two, despite their good hearts, understand the gravity that you and I see is potentially in this book. I mean, look at him. You can hardly hold that cigarette.
Sally like rolls her eyes. Wait, is he already smoking a cigarette or is he needing one?
No, yeah, John's smoking a cigarette.
No,
Lumro gave him one, but he's shaking like
Yeah, it was
crazy.
like mid-conversation, he
Okay.
came over and started like frisking Lem for a cigarette.
Yeah, and he
He
pulled
was
one out
like,
and
"What
just.
the fuck is happening?" There's no alcohol around. There's like nothing. Like give me.
Daphne,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't expect it to get this weird, but I know you're a gal that loves adventure.
I
So
do.
here we are.
And I can promise you this: no matter what, I'm going to protect you.
Oh, thanks. You're so sweet.
I will say this though: can't protect you from myself. So if whatever we're dealing with causes me to do something I don't want to do, I'm apologizing to you right now and up front. Okay? It's not me.
Fine.
I wouldn't hurt a hair on your head. Same goes for you, Sally. John, you're pretty on the level too. I probably wouldn't mess with you.
Sally pulls like a paring knife out of like a fold in her clothes, flips it and hands it over to Daphne. You never know when it's going to come in handy when you're dealing with these bastards. It's
She
not
pulls
as
out her revolver and sets it on the table.
Because I said,
Oh,
Oh,
I
honey, don't
I don't-
worry.
I don't need your knife. Yeah.
I look
yeah.
over-
Does she have a knife
I look over at
She has a
Sally
revolver.
and I say, "You're not
Oh,
from
okay.
Boston, are you?"
or a revolver? Oh.
John looks at Daphne and says,
John?
She just like pulls it out of her little purse and just like, ta-da!
"What have you got me into?"
John, you've got your revolver too?
No, he has a wrench.
Yes. He's like,
Oh.
and he like kind of like pats himself down and then like reaches into his tool bag and pulls out a wrench. Like, what?
So, like Sally's like handing the knife to Daphne, who like shows the revolver, and she just shifts, hands it over to John. Hope you don't need it, but you never know.
Oh no, I think I'm much more capable with
The
trusty Rusty here.
Take the fucking knife.
The standard revolver that I picked off of the locker, I'll pull it, kind of do a very quick kind of like spin, inspection, check the wheel, make sure it's a good gun. It seems capable enough to be used and fired, cleaned well, or is it pretty like rusty, like it's been left in a locker for a long time?
No, it's definitely something that is intended for use.
Okay. After inspecting it as such, I hand it over to John. You know how to use one of these or no? Or Sally, do you know how to use one of these or no?
I know how they work.
Gun?
I
Turns
stay
back.
away from a gun if I can.
Turns back to John.
They're quite useful.
John
these
takes it and kind of looks at it. He's never had to use one before, but he knows how they work, and he thinks in a pinch he might be able to make use of it, so he tucks it in his waistband.
Yeah, it's probably close to
John,
what it is.
take the knife.
Okay, fine. Takes the knife.
So
So
who
now
has
he's got a
who has
knife,
the
a wrench,
revolver?
and a gun.
Okay.
John has the revolver.
Okay.
And you have a paring knife,
And a
which
paring
you can
knife.
drag and drop.
So let's say, John, then it's a 32. You can drag that in from the compendium if you want.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I guess I was saying John Dupree, not John the character. Whoever has the gun.
I passed the pistol I just acquired to
Right, okay.
John, the character.
Then it's a 32. I
Yeah.
could put it on your sheet if you want to, Chad. It's no big deal.
Oh no, I can figure it out.
Okay, doke. Do you want to talk about when you're available to play next to continue?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and stop the stream so that's not boring people on the
Cool.
outside. Thanks for watching those that did, and see you when we see you. Just keep an eye out for Call of Cthulhu Notice. Later.
I